Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. We got the fellas in here from the Are We Back Yet podcast. Mr. Tark LaCour, who's joined me many times before, I'm a good friend. But since we've last seen Tark, who also writes for Hook'em Horns, was it hook'emheadlines.com,
Yeah.
who also writes there and does, everybody knows Tark from Twitter. But he decided to join another celebrity out in LA, and they decided to link up and start their own podcast. So I'm gonna jump into getting them intro, but first and foremost, I want to say thank you to our channel sponsor, BUSR, BUSR.com/fanatic. Hit them up right now. We're still running the holidays 21 promo. When you guys get on BUSR.com/fanatic, first deposit, especially within that first 24 hours, if you utilize that holidays 21 promo, you'll get 150% free play match. Now, I know betting these games, it's very difficult right now. Those of you who had a Cardinals Bucks parlay and got screwed out of some money and you feel bad and you're watching the Rams crap the bed right now and you can't predict what's going on in the NFL, I know it's scary times. I'll have some NBA bets. We're moving forward. We'll have some college basketball bets because I don't know what's going on in the NFL right now.
Can't bet on that. Sorry, Tom Brady.
We're getting feedback on somebody's end. I don't know who.
I think it might be you, Tark.
Tark, we're getting feedback on you.
I didn't say anything.
No, you're computer.
Oh, my bad.
All right. Still feedback? Still giving feedback.
Still a little bit of feedback.
Oh.
Hold on. All right.
There we go.
It's Tark for right now. I'll get back to you. Anyway, BUSR.com/fanatic. Hit up our sponsors. We'll get Tark's audio straightened out, and let's get into it. But I'm gonna actually let Tark roll here, Kieran.
Go ahead.
Because as we all know, Tark, and you guys can see he's wearing the blonde mullet right now, representing his QB1. He's the president of the Quinn Ewers fan club, and Tark was on this, even after Quinn Ewers signed with Ohio State and went there, he was still, hey, I'm Quinn to Texas. He's still gonna come some way, somehow, this transfer portal. So I want to give Tark an opportunity to take his victory lap, and we'll kind of go from there. I'll check in on the chat. Appreciate everybody joining here. Tark, you good to go? All right, man. Floor's yours, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's not really a victory lap for me. It's a victory lap for the University of Texas to get a talent like Quinn Ewers to 40 acres after missing on so many big-time talents. Like, we could spend the entire podcast talking about the guys Texas has missed on the last 10 years or so. But I just felt differently about Quinn, not just because of his talent, but the fact that he committed to Tom Herman when Herman was on the hot seat. And, they weren't exactly the best of friends. I think we all know that. The fact that he kept talking to Sark after he committed to Ohio State, and it kept sounding like maybe it was going to happen. I always felt he's going to find his way back to Texas somehow. Now, that was more a matter of just my heart and I guess a leap of faith, but I'm glad it worked out. So we got him. And I did say, now I want to say this, though. If it hadn't happened, I would not have wanted to see Texas Twitter had he gone to Texas Tech. I don't, Kieran and I were already on bleach drinking watch after the Kansas game. So I don't know what we would have done if Ewers had gone to Tech. But it's good to have him here. I look forward to a healthy quarterback competition in the spring and fall, and excited to see what he does with Sark. So that's that.
I don't want to imagine Texas Twitter if Quinn Ewers didn't come, but also more than that, I don't want to imagine having a phone call with this guy right here after that happens. Because Tarek, if you guys don't know, Tarek is very stoic, very calm, cool, collected, good Mormon man. Not gonna go out there and curse, not at all. I'm telling you right now, he would have emptied the catalog if that would have happened, bro. We would have heard 2003 Eminem level language from Tarek LaCour if Quinn Ewers did not come to Texas. So I'm extremely happy, not just for my sake, because he was playing it down the whole time. We had multiple phone conversations where I was like, man, I'm worried. Texas Tech. And he's just like, nah, he's coming, man. He's coming. Like going to Texas Tech doesn't make any sense. We're the University of Texas. So I'm happy that happened because I know he was a little scared on deep down on the inside. He won't admit it, but I know he was.
I'll admit it. To say that you weren't nervous at all would be lying, because how many times has Texas fumbled the bag on recruits like this the past 10 years? Yes. It just keeps happening. And of course,
they did it not but a week later with Evan Stewart. I mean, like,
that's a little different. That was. I'm going to give them a pass on that one because
it's since been removed.
Yes, God, right. We got a lot to talk about, man. A lot. I'm excited for this show. I'm excited.
Yes, but I will second what Kieran just said. I don't know what words would have come out of my mouth, but I don't think my mother would have appreciated them. I'll leave it at that. So. Well, my mouth would have been washed out with soap 100 times over.
Fellas, here we are, though. He is here, right? And, Casey Thompson has since moved on. I think we're going to have a hot take segment, so I want Kieran to save his nonsense for later.
Nonsense?
But I said what I said.
Okay.
And you said what you said, and we'll address it. I do want to give Kieran – Kieran is a guy – he empties the clip every day. And it almost every other tweet, Kieran's emptying the clip. So I do want to have a brief, sidebar here and just say bravo on the troll job with Florida State. I won't play the video on here. I will link it for those who don't know what Kieran did to Florida State on National Signing Day on Spaces. But bravo, sir. Bravo. I can't play here or else you'll get me demonetized. But bravo.
The video will no longer be for children if you play that video. That wasn't me, though. That was a legit Florida State booster and a lifelong Florida State fan. Not me. I'm here. I'm a Texas Longhorns fan. Bleeding burnt orange. I don't know. I had nothing to do with that. I don't know what you're talking about, though. But, it's all good. My Twitter gets hacked a lot. I'll just say that much. It gets hacked a lot.
To Wes in the chat, I never thought I would see a black man with a blonde mullet either, but here we
are. Oh boy. All right, back to Texas, because I call this the State of the Union. We right now sitting in the 5-hole on recruiting. A lot of people. Honestly, I'll give y'all my perspective first, because this is my channel and Fanatic perspective. I'm very, very pleased with where we're at, all things considered, coming off a 5-7 season, especially when you bring in the talent that is Quinn Ewers and Tarek's, the number one fan of the young man. But when the whole class considered in terms of the 2022 guys, and really the emphasis with the offensive line, talented guys, like I said, from the Southern region on defense, and just trying to revamp this thing. So overall, I'm pleased, but I feel like this is the same kind of temperament speech that I've been giving to Cowboys fans about enjoying your wins while everybody else is struggling, and we start to nitpick things and get upset. And I'm not necessarily even talking about everyone focusing on, we missed on the receivers, specifically Evan Stewart. I'm more so talking about people that are like, well, we're 5, but A&M's class is this and A&M's class is that. And I feel like there's almost too much. A&M has a terrific class, period. I'm not emotionally tied or vested. I know at some point we will be in the conference and competing.
Luckily, you don't live in College Station, Stephen. Like
I don't. And that's why I want to get y'all's perspective on this, because to me, I'm focused on Texas and our class. And I see so many people not even appreciating or just tossing aside a top 5 class because A&M got a better class on paper. Am I tripping, or where do y'all fall in this?
Kieran, go first. I'll pick up after that.
I'll put it this way. I'm very pleased with the class that we had. I think a lot of people need to realize Texas is coming off a 5-7 season with a home loss to Kansas. Having a top 5 class for other poverty programs like Oklahoma wouldn't have been a possibility after losing to Kansas at home. I'm just saying it wouldn't. Like we're having a great year. It's now the money game with NIL coming in, and I think it took us a little longer than I would have liked, but now we're getting involved. We're signing one of the best offensive line classes that we've had in our school's history. Obviously, there's some positions that I wish we recruited better at, namely safety. Oh, actually, no, because I love BJ Allen and I love the Terrence Brooks flip at the end. I'm just upset that we missed on Denver Harris. But then again, that's that.
Jordan too.
Yeah, exactly. That's that nitpicking. But wide receiver, I think that's like where everybody's looking, because Evan Stewart coming to this class would have completed what I think if Evan Stewart commits, we don't really care what happens with A&M's class. They'd still have the number 1 class in the country. But if Evan Stewart comes
that's a
to
good
Texas,
point.
I don't think anybody's
there.
Exactly. It's because Texas A&M is having a better class than us, and they got a player that we were really like, that we wanted. Like, he was the face of this class. After Quinn Ewers left, I mean, he was set to be the face of this class. Now we're hoping that Devon Campbell's going to be, but I'm really happy at what we have. My thing is, people need to temper expectations, because yes, we have good players that are going to develop, but can we hold on to them? Because the 18-19 class, we lost half of those players already. Like, we maybe have 6 major contributors from those 2 classes this past season. Holding on to our classes is more important than actually getting these kids on campus, in my opinion. I want to hold on to them, not lose half of them to the transfer portal or career-ending injuries. It seems like can we get lucky in that regard? So I'm happy.
Tark, excuse me, before you go and give us your vantage point over there in College Station, where they're already having the national championship parade and whatnot there, I do want to address the super chat. Aaron, thank you for sending this in. It is my understanding, I did see the Joe Tatum signing. It is my understanding he's a preferred walk-on. So that's just more of a depth play, like a Ben Ballard and some of the other guys we've signed before. Right now the attention from a recruiting perspective, from what I'm seeing, has now turned to Arch Manning in terms of this staff's pursuits. But Tarek, I'm gonna let you go ahead. Thank you for the super chat, Aaron.
I basically entirely agree with what Kieran just said. We're very fortunate to have a top 5 class after a 5-7 season. The A&M, what I think the A&M class can show you is how different and how much better our class could have been if we had won 8 games. You get 2 or 3 commits we didn't get. I think you get Denver Harris and Evan Stewart if Texas won 8 games. I just think that was the difference there. It also shows you the power of beating Alabama. That gives you a lot to sell. So those type of things are what they are. But overall, I was very pleased. I do think we're going to get Devon Campbell, so this will be the best offensive line class we've seen in my lifetime, except maybe the was it 02 Justin Blaylock class? He came in with Vince, didn't he?
Who, Blaylock?
Blaylock, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he come in with Vince?
That was 02.
Yes, that was 02. So
the Chris Sims class was crazy too.
Yeah, that class was crazy too.
Well,
yeah,
the fact is there haven't been too many classes on the offensive and defensive line that we've seen like this. I'm really excited to see what Justice Finkley and Jamon Tapp do. I think they'll be really good on the edge, because you really need a pass rusher nowadays. And Terrence Brooks, I think, is going to be a stud. So I'm more than happy with what we have, and there's more to come. And looks like we'll get some people out the transfer portal too.
Yes. I see that in the chat too. Jacob Cowing, I have been screaming about this man since UTEP played Texas. Was it? We played him last year to start the season, correct?
It was last year to start the season.
That man was cooking all of our DBs. If you were watching the game, I'm telling you guys, if
they
you
just
want to know
couldn't
who
get him
Jacob
the ball.
Cowing is, they didn't have a quarterback to get him the ball or time in the pocket.
He's a good player.
Cowing I'm telling you right now, Jacob Cowing could come here and push for wide receiver 1. I'm not gonna lie. Like he might get, if he comes here, he might get more targets in action than Xavier Worthy next year. That's the level of talent that I think Jacob Cowing is. Hold up. Listen to me.
Hey, you got too much dip on your chip there, brother.
Jacob Cowing is legit. He's playing at UTEP. He's their whole offense.
I hear you.
He is their everything.
I hear you.
But
Xavier Worthy would do the same exact stuff that you knock it off.
You're right.
You're right. I mean, we're talking about Xavier Worthy that had damn near 300 yards in the OU game. His first Red River, like we're talking about big ass stages.
Yeah,
he was balling.
No, I understand. You telling me out there in the Sun Bowl? It's not. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
Bruh, out there in what? Where is Jacob Cowing play? Tijuana?
Yeah.
Jalisco?
No.
Where does he play? No disrespect to the brother, okay? But you keep, damn it, Karen, you keep Xavier Worthy's name out your mouth, okay?
I watched that man.
I am a fan, and I want him as well, brother. I want him as well. But that's a complimentary piece. That's not. He ain't coming here to be wide receiver 1, in my opinion. I know he put up numbers at Utah. Okay. I think he's over 1,300 yards. But go ahead. Go ahead, Karen. Go ahead.
I can understand the Xavier Worthy angle. Xavier Worthy, best freshman wide receiver in school history. Not even a question. Could be the best wide receiver in school history whenever he leaves, right? Jacob Cowing is going to get action in this offense. He is. He's going to get action.
Well, no, but nobody's denying that. But you're putting him on par with Xavier Worthy, who was
because he might get more yards. He is more capable of getting open in short space than Xavier Worthy is. He will get more targets if he comes here. I think he starts next season. He's an automatic start.
I'll have to see that.
You know what, guys? Don't believe me. It's okay.
I guess
just
we've already started the hot take segment.
See, y'all think they're hot takes. I'm telling you, Jacob Cowing is special. We got to land him first, though. I just got to say, we got to land him first. He is unbelievable talent, though.
Let's move on before something bad happens, Steven.
I got more on the way.
Yeah.
So, remaining targets. Unless there's anybody else in the class y'all want to touch on that has signed or, early enrollees, because I want to get to remaining targets before we really jump into the chat. Obviously all attention goes to Campbell. Oh, go ahead.
It's too bad that guys like Kelvin Banks, Devon Campbell, if he signed, I just wish our entire offensive line class, including Cam Williams, whom I'm really excited about, I wish they were all early enrollees so they could be competing for time and being in better condition come fall. But it is what it is. Just happy they're here. So,
Tarek, you brought something up, and apologies in advance, Kieran. You asked me not to do this.
Oh boy!
But he said the name; it triggered the thought. Kieran, all due respect, I want to offer my condolences to you and the Duncanville community for yet another loss to North Shore. In the state championship game. For those who don't know, I said Kieran was out in LA. Kieran actually came home from LA. Came home. He's a Duncanville alum. Came home to see his brothers. Kieran's a young boy in here. We respect. That's why I love having his respect. He's full of energy. Came home to see his brothers take yet another L. We thought Coach Samples was going to, finally break through here with these guys, and just wasn't meant to be. Kieran. I don't know if you want to touch on that game. Cam Williams is out there moving people. We're excited to have him on board, as we are excited to have Chris Ross on board as well. But Karen, my apologies, my condolences to the Duncanville family. I know this is a time of mourning for you guys, but take it away, sir.
You know what, man? I am sitting in my mother's house, my lovely mother, Maura Hickey's house in Duncanville, Texas. Not but 0.7 miles away from the high school of which you are speaking crap about. And no, I'm not going to take it as anything else. It's crap. And to everyone, all of the Houston people that have been crapping all over Duncanville saying that they're the Buffalo Bills of high school football, because it definitely didn't come from my Twitter account. I definitely did not tweet that. Now, listen, I just want to say this. This has been more heartbreaking to me than any Texas Longhorns loss I can remember. I went to the stadium in 2018 to watch us play North Shore the first time. We should have dominated that game, but we made a couple of mistakes. Still should have won, and they land the luckiest play I've ever seen in the history of sports in a freaking Hail Mary to win. Now,
when was the last time Duncanville won state?
The year I was born, 1998. Now listen,
So
don't call us, if you call us the Fighting Texas Aggies of high school football, Tark, I will find where you live and rip that freaking wig off. I promise you. I promise you.
That actually wasn't where I was going with that.
Okay.
I was going to say, so Texas football has been in 2 national championships since you won state.
Listen. That happens in 2018, right? I'm going to just ignore what he's saying, all right? We go to state in 2018, lose on a Hail Mary, luckiest thing you've ever seen. We play against Rockwall. We're up like 35-7 in like the early third quarter. We're blowing them boys out. Jackson Smith and Jig was getting locked up by Ennis Rakestraw because Duncanville's legit, right? And then their little freaking cornball safety goes and takes out Jaquindon Jackson's knee, and we have to play the state championship with a freshman. So I was thinking there, like, okay, North Shore 2-0, they got lucky, right? They play them this year, and I'm thinking, okay, Duncanville's finally got it. They got a freshman quarterback this time, right? Reginald Samples, I love you, man. I really do. You're amazing. You're the godfather of black coaches in Texas high school football, and you have more wins than any other black coach in the history of Texas high school football. But if you do not go get you a real offensive coordinator, I swear to God, I'm never flying back home again. My mother will not see me if you do not hire a real offensive coordinator, because we have been running the same jet sweep freaking offense for the past 6-7 years. He was running the same BS at Skyline. Like, switch that thing up, man. North Shore is not a more talented team than Duncanville is. They're not a better team than Duncanville is. And I'm not going to sit here and accept this slander from you guys, because Duncanville is the best. We produce the best talent here.
Bro, y'all took 3 L's, though.
I don't want to hear it. We took 2 lucks and 1 loss. I'll give you 1 loss. If Jaquindon Jackson plays in the game,
you don't have to give it to us. That's what happened.
Nope. If Jaquindon Jackson plays in the game in 2019, we blow them off the field.
Okay, now I'm going to be the philosopher. We don't live in a world of counterfactuals. We live in a world of facts. It happens, okay? You find a way to win. Moving on. Let's talk about something else.
You're just upset that we whooped your boy's ass in high school, and that's what it is. Quinn Ewers got bodied by Duncanville. Just saying.
Okay.
Anyway. Let's go ahead.
Jamel doesn't like the way I pronounce Quinn Ewers' name, so
Ewers, not Ewers.
Not Ewers.
Ewers.
You know, I'm from Maryland, bro. We say our words a little differently out there. Sometimes that
he has a little accent
come out every now and again on how we pronounce certain things.
All right, what's the chat got for us?
Well, we got everybody triggered with Duncanville now and Coach Samples. So speaking of samples, we'll talk about little samples over at TCU. I think that, can help us move on to, and I wanted to address a super chat here, because that actually takes us back. Justin, thank you for the donation. Give me y'all's top transfers we should go after, an opinion on wide receiver coach possibilities. So I'll start. Kieran, we obviously both want Jacob Cowing. We just have a difference of opinion of what role he would play in this offense. But in all seriousness,
wide receiver 1.
Okay. Let you tell it. But where I'm going with this is
Quinn Ewers is having none of it. Yeah, he was. I didn't see Jacob Cowan in that Instagram live thing, so I think we know where the ball's going. Go ahead.
Top transfers we should go after, and wide receiver coach possibilities. I made a video yesterday about just some of the coaching shakeup, and that came out last night. Please go check that out if you have not seen that video. I touched on Andre Coleman. I said my thank yous and goodbyes to Stan Drayton, and I was, I think I made a pretty passionate pitch for Brennan Marion, who's currently the receivers coach at Pitt. Just my HBCU ties and watching him develop. He's very, very young, very, very bright, very well regarded, and conceptually somebody that has impacted the high school level, the collegiate level, as well as the NFL level just with his football mindset, and somebody who has the perfect energy I want coaching my kids. So that is far and away my number one for that position, and I believe that's the staff's target for number one as well. I know, but again, talking about Rashad Samples, super recruiter, volume recruiter, and that position of need. So I don't know which one of you wants to jump in on that, but that's kind of where my head's at right now.
If you want to shut down Dallas and the Metroplex area, you definitely want to get Samples. I think he would do that. He would be an amazing recruiter and things like that. Marion, I'm very intrigued by, though. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one. But you definitely have to get a guy who's going to be a volume recruiter. Although what really intrigues me about Marion is not so much just I think he can be a dynamic recruiter, but his go-go offense, the way he uses split backs and uses multiple back sets, I think that would be very useful in Sark's repertoire with the running backs we have coming back.
P.O., thank you for the super chat. Hook 'em. Thank you.
As far as portal, I think there will be some more. I'm going to wait to comment on that until after all the bowl games, and then some other people jump in. So,
yeah, to piggyback off of your take, I would love to see Brennan Marion coupled with Sark's offensive scheme. I think Sark is great at adapting and adding things to his offense, rather than just having everything overridden by someone. Like, he can take bits and pieces and aspects from people's offense, and I think it's a great opportunity for Brennan Marion to get more of his playbook expanded, and a great opportunity for him to learn under one of the best offensive play callers in the country.
Good point.
As far as wide receiver coaches are concerned, I think, oh man, I tried to make this point last year, but I think hiring Margin Hooks would have been a perfect, like, even if it's just to land Evan Stewart last year. Like, if you're looking to make a change, I didn't understand holding on to Andre Coleman. He might have a great relationship with the players on campus, but
yeah, I didn't get that one either.
The reason why he got the job in first, if we remember, it's because Maringer got let go and everyone loved Andre Coleman. So we brought him on. Completely understood it. But once you realize that this dude could not bargain for anything on the recruiting trail, like, what is he here for? It's dead weight. And then
get people to get off of press coverage.
Yeah, exactly. I love Brennan Marion. Rashad Samples, of course, Duncanville boy. I would love to see a Samples coaching at UT again. He did great in the Dallas area recruiting, and he would continue to. I don't know if he's going to take the job if it doesn't require a title that he's looking for, because he's looking to go up in the coaching ranks, and he deserves to. He's amazing. And as far as transfers are concerned, Jacob Cowling, wide receiver 1, obviously. Ryan Watts, he's still on the board? Yeah,
Ryan, yeah, we should know about him in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think Ryan Watts should be the top target. Him and Jacob Cowling, 1 and 2, in my opinion, or 1A, 1B. Other transfer targets, though, there's no one in the portal right now that I, off the top of my head, could say. But as far as positions are concerned, we definitely need an edge with some size that's capable of shedding blocks, and we definitely need a starting level offensive tackle. We do. Like, I think even if it's just to push the other guys in the room, we need a guy that has started at a Power 5 program at tackle. That's just the way I see it. Or, I mean, even not. Calvin Anderson came from Rice and was one of the best left tackles.
I agree. And there'll be I think you can even get some high-end G5 guys. Like I'm glad you brought up the Calvin Anderson point, who's doing pretty well in the NFL right now for the Denver Broncos. And just to supplement the position so you can get all those linemen who, as Tarek said earlier, aren't coming for the spring into the incubator. We've got to get into the incubator process and get, just have people that can hold us down for a year so that it doesn't disrupt, Bijan's year, doesn't disrupt Quinn Ewers' development and getting the ball to guys like Xavier Worthy and, hopefully some of the other weapons like Brennan Thompson. So I totally agree with the aggression that we need to have regarding the offensive line in the portal. And it needs to be, so here's my thing. It needs to be evaluations though. I don't need you guys getting in there and signing Jags And for those who don't know, I say it all the time, Jags means just another guy. Okay. No disrespect to Ray Thornton, but when you look at his tape and everything, yeah, we were excited. Ooh, he came from LSU. Ooh, he won a ring. There's a reason why he wasn't playing. There's a reason why, he's
Davis.
a grad transfer in the portal, and then you get him on the field. And we should have known something was up, because in the spring they're like, yo, Ray Thornton's tearing everybody apart and going off in camp. But is that because he's the next Joseph Osai, or is that because we don't have the personnel with the offensive line?
No, he just wears his number.
Right. And so it was the latter, right? And again, no, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that. I'm not saying Ray Thornton's a bad football player. I'm just saying there's a reason why he was more of a supplemental complementary piece. And so for what Kieran's talking about in terms of getting one of these bona fide guys, those are going to be hard to come by. Unless you snag somebody from, again, G5 or somebody that's like coming up and all that type of stuff. Oh, we got a troll in here. We got a block. But I just think that it's going to be really, really interesting how that plays out. If somebody gets disgruntled from another school, or it's just like, yo, I'm an elite player and I want to go somewhere else and maybe hop him on board with Texas, get me going somewhere, that'd be fine. Right. And so I want to get to a point where we, have evaluations in place to where we're not just signing more Jags. We're signing guys that are difference makers.
It seemed like the moves that were made in the offseason are like, oh, who can we get from big programs that fit our need? Instead of, okay, who can we get that we've seen, evaluated, and know can play that position to the level of which we want to start them. I just, watching Ovia Gofu, Ben Davis, and Ray Thornton this past season was pretty disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. Not saying that they're
made me really
players,
appreciate Jacoby Jones, though.
It made me appreciate Jacoby Jones and what Joseph Osai did last year as well. I just think when looking at those positions, I think body types matter a lot as well. Body types and effort more than anything, because I've been screaming about this till I'm blue in the face. I don't even really need to go much deeper, but having guys that are 235 pounds trying to set the edge is not going to work. It's not going to work in college football.
Especially in this scheme.
Especially in the Power 5. It's not going to work when you got 6'6", 300-pound offensive tackles, whether they're good or bad, playing at every school.
What's good, TP? What's good?
Not going to go. What's up, Texas Platinum? I just –
So
I don't know. It just – they have to
look out for my boy Justice Finkley. He's coming to save the day.
See, I'm okay with that, but my problem is I think Jamon Tamp and Justice Finkley will probably be our starting defensive ends the year after next. But throwing them in the fire, if we have to rely on live game snaps against Oklahoma, against Baylor, with Justice Finkley and Jamon Tamp next season, I'm going to be concerned. I am.
Oh, you should be. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. That's how I feel about this whole recruiting class. I feel like the expectations are going to be for them to step on the field and play right away, and that's just not feasible. It's not, unless your name is Devon Campbell and Kelvin Banks, because I think they step in and play immediately. But yeah, it is what it is.
Didn't Emmett Jones get? I see the comment here. Didn't Emmett Jones get scooped up by Joey
Tech?
Yeah,
he's a Tech.
Yeah.
Joey McGuire,
but I'm sure that just as we took Quinn Ewers away from Tech, a phone call
and Chris
to get
Beard.
Emmett Jones. Yeah, as I said on Twitter after Quinn Ewers committed to Texas, winners do not go to Tech.
It's Lubbock versus Austin. Are we serious?
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat the joke that I sent to Kieran on this platform, but he knows how I feel about Austin.
Yeah, I will. No, I'm playing. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. This is a child appropriate show here.
Trying to get demonetized out here.
I'm sorry, Steven. I'm sorry. Trying to get the chat to go wild. Jacob Cowing, wide receiver 1. Go ahead.
All right. I want to take a pause here just to get back to BUSR. Hit up busr.com/fanatic. Even if you're looking to avoid the NFL right now and all the craziness, so much going on. Take advantage of the holidays 21 promo today on busr.com. 150% free play. We are going to have another promo launching next week. I cannot disclose the details of what that promo will be, but right now take advantage. I know a lot of people are looking to get some bets in for Christmas Day, NBA hoops, whatever, squads that are going to be out there with all the COVID and all the injuries. We know one person that won't be out there is Kieran's boy, Anthony Davis. But other than that, hit us up. Appreciate y'all. Let's see.
I just got to say, everybody, Steven texted me at midnight Los Angeles time, talking about my GOAT, LeBron James, after a regular season basketball game. Now, if that doesn't mean that LeBron James is running through this man's mind, I'm just saying. He's always on your mind, Steven. It's okay. You can hate on him. This man said LeBron James won a Mickey Mouse ring and then turned around and said that Giannis won a legit one after playing no superstars on his entire playoff run until the finals.
At least Giannis played
I
with
think
fans
I'm here to
and
discuss
fans.
Texas football, but LeBron is the GOAT, so.
Thank you, Tarek. That's why we have a podcast together. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Hey, I said what I said, and we can turn to that in hot take segment. I don't mind. Everybody.
We can do that later. It's okay.
Wait, Steven, we just got a question in the chat about Hudson versus Ewers.
Where is that?
Is it Michael? I think.
I'll put it up. Or I can't.
Oh wait, sorry about that.
Frankly, a grown man, Arakpo vibes.
Hey, Lando, this is a great opportunity to plug the video we did about Joey Maguire. My buddy Brandon, who actually played for him at Cedar Hill. Y'all go check that video out where we did the and normally I don't promote other people's schools and stuff, but Joey Maguire, Brandon's one of my best friends in life. So the way he talks about Joey Maguire, he has a personal relationship with him. Texted him the day he got hired. No, we definitely know what's up here with him being one of the GOATs in college and high school football. And you saw how, people like Jeff Traylor responded to that hire. I think it was an excellent hire for Texas Tech. And that's the path I would go if I was one of those kind of schools, no doubt about it.
I grew up right down the street.
I see the question now, Tarek, so we can go ahead and address this.
So it's going to be an open competition. Well, first of all, let's circle back to something we haven't talked about. How did you all feel about Casey Thompson entering the portal? I was a bit surprised. I thought he would at least wait through the spring.
Same.
And then go, and then it would kind of shake out, because I think I tweeted out, and I was just joking on December 3rd. Like Casey looking at like the GIF that goes "Holy S" with the guy taking his shades off. I captioned that with Casey Thompson looking at Quinn Ewers in warmups. But I was just joking. I thought he would at least make it through the spring. But I guess he just saw the writing on the wall and took off. So that surprised me.
I'll put it this way. To be quite frank, shout out Joey Chestnut. To be quite frank, I just think I'm sort of disappointed that he didn't stay around through the spring and try to win the job there. But also, the writing's on the wall. I listen to Rod Babers in the Longhorn Blitz. Great Longhorn podcast if you guys want to
shout out to Rob Babers, Jeff Howe, everybody at Longhorn Blitz. Those
Matt
are
Butler.
my boys. Shout out to them. Hook them.
Yeah, great podcast. Rod Babers said something about inevitability. They were just like, Quinn Ewers showed up in UT like Thanos saying he's inevitable. And it's inevitable that Quinn Ewers will be the starting quarterback of the Texas Longhorns. It is. And with Casey Thompson, I already think he's somewhat out of the good graces of the coaching staff, definitely the fan base. Good God, everyone was throwing him. Well, I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people were throwing him under the bus about his decision-making and his commitment to the program after playing a whole season with a black thumb. Don't understand it, but I just think, I think the writing was on the wall. And why would Casey stick around when he could get a leg up and go through spring practice to learn somebody else's system? He's a Power 5 starting quarterback. Like he is. He's a Power 5 level starting quarterback. He's going to go to another Power 5 program, and I think he'll have success there. Best of luck to him. I figured as soon as Quinn Ewers came, when it's also tough. Like Rod Babers, he was even talking about that, and I know you were talking about it too as well, Tarek. When your top target, your number one wide receiver, is publicly campaigning for another girlfriend, it's tough. It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. You know what I mean? Like he's out there on Twitter changing his profile picture to Quinn Ewers. Like that
but
tells
it
you what you
wasn't
need
just
to know.
that. It's guys like Deshaun Elliott and other Longhorn greats tweeting out, "Hey, Quinn Ewers, get us that championship."
Right.
They quit.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is over."
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that also ties into the Hudson Card versus Quinn Ewers debate too. From if you take away skill sets and we're just talking objectively, Quinn Ewers comes in, he's getting paid God knows how much money. We don't know the actual numbers. I'm not going to say the 4 million number that's been thrown out there with no factual evidence. It doesn't make sense. But Quinn Ewers comes in, all the media hype, all the expectations, everybody's bargaining for him. I think it's his job to lose. It really is. Unless he just comes in and he isn't ready and he's just not performing to the level at which he should be capable of, it's his job to lose. Now, speaking from a technical standpoint, I think Quinn Ewers does something that makes this competition really not close. He is capable of creating in the pocket and being comfortable in the pocket. He is. He's able to make throws with pressure in his face. I watched him do it as a 15-year-old. I did. I watched him do it as a 15-year-old against Duncanville in the playoffs. I was joking about it earlier. This dude threw for 379 and 3 touchdowns against Duncanville. A prime Duncanville, too. Like a really good Duncanville team with Jaquindon Jackson. He made that game close when it shouldn't have been at all. I think Quinn Ewers has more tools, more ability in the pocket, outside of the pocket, an accurate arm, and his ball placement is the best that we've seen in high school football in a decade, at least. It's incredible. It's his job to lose, and Quinn Ewers was just sort of inevitable. And I completely subscribe to the Rod Babers Thanos theory. So you will see me this fall with a purple painted face and a mullet on.
So let me chime in with my thoughts here. Casey Thompson was at the school for what, 4 seasons? 4 years. He graduated.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So he's been here 4 years. He finally got opportunity to play. He thought he was gonna basically take over against Sam Ehlinger. He's been in, since he came in a 2-quarterback class with Cameron Rising. He had to compete against Jaquindon Jackson and Hudson Card when they got there. Sam Ehlinger's getting injured. They're still playing an injured Sam Ehlinger over a Casey Thompson. I think in another universe, Tom Herman probably plays Casey Thompson a little bit more in 2020. And because here's the problem. The Texas fan base, the only real glimpse we got of Casey Thompson was the Alamo Bowl. And he was fantastic against a questionable Colorado team. But in that moment, he delivered, right? And so then it becomes the what if. But if Casey Thompson gets thrown in against TCU 2020, maybe people's perception is different because maybe he doesn't perform the way he did against Colorado. I'm saying all that to say this. Casey Thompson is a smart kid, and his dad, whether you like his dad or not, they're also moving and aware of what's going on. Now, one can argue his dad's trying to spin narrative and all that type of stuff. I'm not here to get into that discussion. I don't really care because he's leaving. I'm not trying to kick people out the door. However, does he want to go through another quarterback competition? At some point, it's like, what's your end game, man? I mean, and the reason why it needed to happen now, in my opinion, is you can't miss a spring and then try to go somewhere else and then try to win a job. Spots are filling up. Dylan Gabriel, people are jumping around quick trying to get to their spot. Spencer Rattler went to South Carolina early for a reason. Dylan Gabriel went to UCLA early for a reason. So if you already know, the odds are I'm probably not going to be the guy. Casey could come in there and try to improve and do better. But the coaches were dead set and very clear in saying they're trying to upgrade the talent in the room. They're trying to add more competition to the room. That doesn't mean hey, I have my guy and we're going to move forward with you come spring and build the offense around you. No, sir. So if you already know that, go put yourself in a position at least before spring practice starts in 2022 with a coach in a school where you're the guy and then see where it goes. That's just my perspective on that.
I think the writing was on the wall as well. When there's a big question in the air about Casey's injury, and it didn't seem like, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here. I'm just saying this is the facts. This is what happened. It didn't seem like Sarkisian was very eager to defend his poor play. with any excuses for why he could not throw a football. Like you know what I mean? Like, because he had times this past season where I was like, wow, Casey Thompson is legit. And then he also had times where I was like, how is this a quarterback at this level of college football? Like early in that Iowa State game, I'm like, how are you throwing 15-yard balls into the dirt? Like to a guy that's standing there, like just wide open, like just sitting in zone coverage. And it was clear that he was injured, but it didn't seem like Sarkisian was giving him that out at all. And then after the season, I mean, we all had a discussion about it together, about strategically Casey putting out that thumb picture, or Casey's team putting out that picture of his thumb. I just think he was there to defend his poor play or whatever it was. And Sarkisian had other thoughts. And to me, the writing was on the wall that he was not going to be here. I feel like he feels he wasn't welcome. It's unfortunate in my opinion, because I've said this to Tarek. I would feel more comfortable going up against Alabama next season if Casey Thompson was our starter than anybody else. Now, am I saying that Casey Thompson would have been the best player for the job? Absolutely not. Not saying that at all. Quinn Ewers could be a generational talent, but we don't know. We don't know if Hudson Card is developed and he's going to be capable of playing against a big team like that. We don't know. But my thing is, we know what Casey Thompson gives you. It's either good or bad, but you know he's going to go out there. He's not going to be zipping the ball everywhere, but he's going to make plays when he does, and he's not going to make plays when he doesn't. And that was my feeling on it. Upset he's gone. Love Casey Thompson, but it is what it is. I think one Texas high school football legend with all the hype was enough to dim down. Two, way too much for one man to handle. Like, if we're being honest, how do you think the boosters would have reacted to Casey Thompson trotting out there against Alabama with Quinn Ewers and Hudson Card sitting on the bench? How do you think they would have reacted to that? If that would have happened, they would have been furious. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
let's be honest. And it's not anything about just talent level. Like Casey Thompson running out there over Quinn Ewers and Hudson Card would have pissed a lot of people off.
Why are you grimacing, Tarek?
You know what, Steven? I'm just going to keep my comments to myself about the whole boosters thing.
I'm not saying okay, boosters, fans in general. How do you think the majority of the fan base would have felt?
Okay, can I speak as president of the fan club for a second?
Go ahead.
If Casey Thompson had trotted out there against Alabama, then I would have been cheering for him because that means he won the job. Because Sark's not just going to give anyone the job.
Yes.
So if Casey had won it, he had won it. Now he should have been given time to in that next season before pulling the plug on anything. I do think, rewinding back to the 2021 season, a mistake that Sark made, and the first person to like this when I tweeted it out, I was watching the Ohio State game, the opener versus Minnesota. I tweeted out, Steven was the first to like this. I said, look, Ryan Day is giving Sark a heads up on something because CJ Stroud did not play well the first half, but he stuck with him. And when reporters were coming up saying, hey, he said, no, CJ Stroud's the guy. Stop talking to me about this. When CJ Stroud wasn't great against Oregon or other times, no, CJ Stroud's the guy. He's going to learn. We're going to do that. When Sark came out and named Hudson the star and said, but Casey's going to play, it was always like, okay, you're not really sold on either guy. Yeah. And I think that messed up both guys' development, in part because football is as much psychological as it is physical. And I felt like part of the problem with both quarterbacks was neither one felt that they really had the support of the head coach. That's not going to be the case for Quinn Ewers because Sark is kind of when you're at a guy's house 2 minutes after he goes into the portal, that's the guy coming out to your house with the boombox saying, I'm in love with you, please come. It's not going to be quite the same. So I would rewind that.
I agree with you.
Back to the point about Card versus Quinn, I think Quinn Ewers is just made for Sark's offense, especially with the RPOs and the bootlegs and things like that. I just think it's a perfect fit. So I will be shocked if he's not the starter.
When you have the
week 1.
talent that Quinn Ewers has, you're a perfect fit for any modern offense right now.
Well, I'm just saying because South Lake Carroll uses a lot of those RPOs, and he's
Oh no,
used to that.
I agree. No, you're right. They do, and you'll see that all over his film. A lot of whether it's quick game,
and we didn't use that as much this year with Casey. So
yeah, and that might be another reason why Casey left as well. Scheme fit. He didn't come here to play in Steve Sarkisian's offense. He came to play in Tom Herman's.
He came here via Tim Beck, right? Like, think about the guys that he had actually been under. I mean, Yursich, Tim Beck, Tom Herman takes over.
Say what you want about this. This might be a little bit of a hot take. Say what you want about Tim Beck as a play caller. Trash. Horrible. I mean, honestly, horrible. Hey, you could call better plays.
This is a hot take I'll agree with.
Now, Tim Beck as a quarterback developer.
And recruiter.
Pretty solid. And recruiter. People forget Tim Beck got Bijan. Tim Beck is the reason why we got Bijan. Now listen, he's also the reason we got Jake Smith. We're not going to talk about that. But Tim Beck as a position coach, as a quarterback developer, great job. Play caller, absolutely atrocious. Never want to see it again. But as a quarterback coach, really solid guy. Really solid guy. I'll say that much.
I do want to jump on Tarek's point about Sark's handling of the quarterback situation, because you're right. I saw it. I was seeing the same thing in the Ohio State game early on, and Ohio State fans, you know, this is why people think Texas is a pressure cooker, and it is. But there's levels to this, because there's also places where it's just these teams are winning right now, so you don't see it as much. Ohio State fans are insane. Oklahoma fans are insane. We saw this with the Lincoln Riley stuff. Now all of a sudden they'll tell you that Lincoln Riley was never a good football coach. Like, that's how crazy they can be. Alabama fans can be this way. It's just that a lot of these teams have been winning, so you haven't seen the when a relationship is going good right now, you can't see that the woman is crazy on the other end. That's how those schools are right now. So at Ohio State, they were already, should we get Kyle McCord some snaps? Should we get Jack Miller some snaps? When's Quinn Ewers going to take some snaps? Like, that's how they were treating CJ Stroud, 30 throws in to his career? So we got to – I totally agree with you. This is – for that point, though, I'm going to take it a different way. I think if Sark could have done this over again, I think what he should have done – I said this before the season – when they hadn't announced whether it was Casey Thompson or Hudson Card, I think if Sark could do it over again, he would have handled it the way Dabo did. I think that was 2018 with Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant. Everyone knew Trevor Lawrence was more talented than Kelly Bryant. However, he just gave Kelly Bryant the job because he was like, hey, now granted, a different scenario because Kelly Bryant was already an incumbent starter and had led Clemson to the playoffs. So it is a different situation and scenario. However, you can't tell me that whole spring camp and all fall camp, Kelly Bryant was throwing the ball better than Trevor Lawrence. He did that so that he knew, hey, I'm going to let this thing play out so I can ease Trevor in. My goal is to take care of Trevor. Now, if Kelly goes out there and balls as a veteran, great for us. Everybody will see that. But the moment Kelly also knows, hey, I'm the guy, but my leash is very short, and it turned actually controversial if y'all don't remember after A&M when they won.
Kelly played better in that game.
But Kelly had played 4 games, I believe, at that point, and he left.
That was the second game. They brought him in, and
he left after Syracuse.
I'm not sure if he
left
got
after
hurt
one of those games.
Did they lose? It was one of those, but then they switched.
No, they didn't lose because Lawrence won it all as a freshman, and they were undefeated that year.
But they ended up naming Trevor Lawrence the starter after having a close game with Syracuse, I believe it was.
Right.
And then Kelly was like, "Nah, I'm out of here." And that was the first time we saw the 4-game red shirt eligibility thing.
That was really you're absolutely right. That was the first time we saw it play out, was when Kelly Bryant left. He had a playoff quarterback bounce, and he went to Missouri. So all I'm saying is, what if Sark had played it that way and said, Casey, you're the veteran guy. I'm going to let you start Arkansas. and I'm going to ease my freshmen in. I understand, yes, Hudson Card winning the job before the season, it's like you're a new coach. You're kind of putting forth this whole meritocracy angle, and I get that. But football can be weird sometimes. And I'm normally very, very much pro meritocracy. But if they were close, and this is what I was saying, like if they were close, typically, yeah, you let the younger guy play. But in that scenario, knowing how fragile our culture is, how fragile this fan base is, and that's something Steve had to learn. I don't think he realized that coming in. I don't think he realized that he was going to get the heat that Hudson Card was going to get lit up the way he got after Arkansas, and that people were going to leave him with no choice.
Yeah.
I don't think he realized that. I think he thought, oh, okay, I'll just go back the next week. Who did we play after? We played somebody. We played
Rice.
Rice.
We played Rice. Yes.
Right. Like I think he thought, oh, we'll just get our shit together with Rice. And the fan base, everybody was like, no. And it sucks. But with certain situations, certain programs, I think sometimes you have to do it the way Dabo did it. Because there's no way Kelly Bryant was out throwing Trevor Lawrence in practice.
No.
If you were there, if T. Higgins, Justin Ross, I'm pretty sure if you put them on a lie detector, they'll say that we knew Trevor Lawrence in July was the better quarterback.
Yeah. January. I mean, yeah.
So,
when it comes to college quarterbacking, I think experience matters a whole lot more than people realize. Obviously talent is amazing, but as far as the speed of the game is concerned, if you are not ready to go come fall, you're going to see Hudson-like performances. He was not ready for the speed of those football games. And it had been an issue that he had since high school that Steve Sarkisian figured out, oh, I really got to coach this out of this kid. And it's the happy feet in the pocket, the bailing on good pockets, like just not comfortable back there at all, it seemed like. And you saw him progressively get better at that throughout the season too. Like it's not like Hudson Card is just this bad guy.
He
did get better.
Handled the pocket much better against West Virginia.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Although I will say there were some about the pocket presence that was a problem at Lake Travis too, and holding onto the ball too long.
Yeah,
those were things he had problems with at high school. So those weren't. Yeah, no, we had seen that before.
I mean, hey, shout out Ian Boyd, but I don't want to go too hard for Ian Boyd, but Ian Boyd was talking about his games with like or with North Shore back in high school. If you watch him as a junior against North Shore, it's the same. It was almost a carbon copy of what happened against Arkansas. Pocket broke down, started panicking, held onto the ball too long, was running sideline to sideline trying to escape and not making anything happen. That was an issue that he had, and now he has Steve Sarkisian to teach it out of him. So when it comes to quarterback play, and this is another thing, Quinn Ewers is going to have deficiencies that we hate, that we don't like. It's just football. Colt McCoy had the same thing early on. Vince Young had the same thing early on. Sam Ehlinger had the same thing early on. Sam Ehlinger went from throwing horrible interceptions his first year to having the longest no interception streak in the history of the Big 12. Like you got to give these players time to develop. But I just think when you look at base skill sets, when you look at their ability to maneuver and speed of the game type things, I favor Quinn Ewers in that regard over Hudson Card. I'm not gonna lie.
You're right. Quinn will have some bad habits too. I mean, some people don't like the arm slot that he will sometimes draw the ball from in his delivery. Some people don't like the back foot stuff because he trusts his arm so much, which is all similar to Matthew Stafford. That's why I keep confident. When Matthew Stafford got to Georgia, he had the same things. And they're talented, so they get better fast. They ramp fast. Trevor Lawrence ramped fast. So I don't think it's going to – but, yeah, there's always going to be things – you always should be growing your game and working on your game. That's why I'm encouraged, at least on the offensive side of the ball, because we're getting ready to move over to defense. But offensively, I actually saw improvements with both Casey Thompson and Hudson Card in certain areas of their quarterbacking due to Steve Sarkisian. And also, we all understand that this was all of their first year in his offense. And his offense isn't some, you install it like Sterling Gilbert back in the day in 2 weeks and boom, the whole thing is installed. That's not the case. It's a progressive thing. That's why the guys that have really, really been successful in Steve Sarkisian offense have been with him for 2-3 years in the quarterback room, where they really can manipulate the defense and really can execute things the way he wants them executed. So in fairness to Casey and Hudson, they were both in year one with Sark and what he's trying to do. I saw improvement with the offensive line in Kyle Flood. Kyle Flood's one of the best teachers in this sport. Watching his coaching clinics and listening to him, he talks about him being a teacher. He also has to be an excellent learner because football is consistently changing. He talked about new blocking concepts and things that he is constantly learning and adding to his repertoire to install with his kids. And I think kids respect that, which is why he's having success with what he's trying to do. But we have to understand, that's why I'm a Brennan Marion fan. Because Brennan Marion, the way he talks about receivers playing away from the ball. Hey, if I'm, Marcus Washington, thank you for blocking so well without the football. You definitely show that you love your teammates. But it's not just blocking receivers. It's when I'm asking you to run that post and you're not getting the football, but I need you to run that safety off so we can get Xavier Worthy up underneath on a dig. I need you to run that route full speed even though you're not getting the ball. That is when you get to a whole nother level of trust and coaching and getting kids to truly buy in. Like, hey, coach, I'm playing hard. No, are you playing with love and making sure that he gets open, making sure you run your man off, right? And so I think if we get a whole staff like that, we're close on offense. I really, no matter how young we are, and you have number 5 back there leading this thing. You have Roshan Johnson back there leading this thing. They're going to be okay. Any parting thoughts? Because we got to get to the defense because people want to talk about the staff. And I've seen it on here a few times. Hey, why did Andre Coleman get fired and nobody on the defense been let go yet? So I don't know if y'all want to jump over to that or if y'all have any parting thoughts with the offense.
I guess one thing you were talking about, like bad habits about quarterbacks. Yeah, Quinn has he idolizes Patrick Mahomes, and like Patrick Mahomes, he will try to make the play that's really not there. And hopefully Sark will coach that out of him. Sark has done that with other quarterbacks before, so I'm not super worried about that. As far as Andre Coleman and the defense, I think Andre Coleman was kept on the staff only because it almost felt to me like when Sark was getting the staff, he kind of just said after the first 2 guys he really wanted at wide receivers coach they weren't able to get, he's like, you know what, we'll just keep Coleman. He's already here. We need some continuity. It was more like a leap of it was an act of good faith to keep Coleman around. There was no real merit that kept Coleman around, not between receiver development or recruiting. And of course, that kind of killed this year. But the real reason I don't think anyone on the defensive side has been kicked off yet, and I don't think they will, is because if you look at what Kwiatkowski, Bo Davis, others were able to do on the trail, everyone brought in someone you're like, wow, you got that guy. Wow, you got that guy. Even Terrence Joseph getting Terrence Brooks at that last minute, things like that. And I think Sark is also very cautious about putting the defense through a fourth coordinator in 4 years. So that's why he would be very hesitant to make a fundamental change. Now, we've been talking about Gary Patterson, but saying that in the chat, so let's just get straight to that. I'm very nervous about bringing Patterson in, not because I don't respect him. I think he's a great defensive mind. I think he would bring some more toughness to the team. But I just don't know how Patterson, who's a control freak, is going to react to not being the defensive coordinator. It seems like if you're going to bring him in, just bring him in and let him be in charge. Don't bring him in and then say, well, you guys, you two work it out. Just seems like a recipe for disaster in some ways. Would I do it? I guess you have to do something because people will be upset if you just keep the defense exactly as is without a little bit of tweaking. So that's my thought on Gary Patterson, but I know Kieran has some thoughts on that.
I just feel like if Gary Patterson wanted the defensive coordinator job and that was the only thing, then that would be the only thing that he would accept. I don't think we would be sitting here having conversations a month later about him accepting a job here if he wanted to be the defensive coordinator at Texas so bad. Like that's just I don't think he would have accepted anything else. Also, I love the idea of having Gary Patterson at practice holding these guys accountable, getting on them. I agree with Steven. Continuity is something that we haven't had here, and I'm all for it. I'm all for trying it. If we need to make changes, we do. There's no way, in my opinion, that you can really relate Andre Coleman to the defensive staff, because there's three aspects of coaching. There's development, there's recruiting, and then there's accountability, right? Like on-field coaching, accountability, right?
Sure as heck didn't get that with Josh Moore.
He didn't hit any three of those. The wide receiver room's been the most toxic and cancerous position group since Tom Herman stepped on campus. Let's not mince any words here. He couldn't recruit. We have one wide receiver recruit. That cannot happen at the University of Texas. It can't.
Hey,
and keep in mind too that
I think Savion Red's going to play running back, or is he going to
three of the top 10 receivers in the country are from the state of Texas, and Texas didn't get one.
That's my other thing though too, is we're upset that we only have one or two wide receiver recruits, right? And the reason why is because Steve Sarkisian is not trying to sit here and settle for anybody. He's not. He went after all of the big fish, and they missed on every single one of them. If you can't do that at a program like Texas, you should not have a job at a program like Texas. He doesn't do anything incredible technique-wise. He doesn't do it I'm sorry. I gave him the excuse last season because I was okay. Maybe Tom Herman and Mike Yurcich's route tree is a little limited. This season it's not. You can't convince me it's not. Look at the stuff that Devontae Smith was doing last season in Steve Sarkisian's offense. Sorry, you can't. You don't get that excuse. And when you have one contributor and everybody else is sort of inconsistent, that's what happens. That's what happens. We haven't seen as much development in a guy like Marcus Washington, who Marcus Washington was right up there with Jamison Williams in the state of Missouri as far as recruits were concerned. He was. And he hasn't developed to anything even close to what Jamison Williams is doing. You cannot keep your job after that. And when I'm looking at the defense, though, I think schematically, yes, there were some issues. Bringing in a guy like Gary Patterson irons those out because you have someone in that room to check them and say, yo, look, I don't think that's going to work. An extra voice will always help. And a guy that has 15 years of defending offenses from the Big 12. I know that TCU hasn't been in there that long, but TCU's been elite for that long, essentially defensively against teams in this area.
And people he sent to the league.
Exactly. And people that he sent to the league. And it's not like, I'm sorry, I can't sit here and just buy that PK became horrible overnight. I can't subscribe to that.
I don't think any of the three of us think that. And I agree with you but there's a difference between talking about something in practice and talking about something in theory. So Gary Patterson may be saying, yeah, I'm fine. I don't have to really take over things. But when push comes to shove, is he really going to be able to stay hands off when things aren't going exactly the way he wants it? Because he is a control freak.
When things aren't going the way that they should be on the field is when Gary Patterson steps in and becomes the defensive coordinator. Because PK's ass is going to get fired. Period.
If that's what you're going to do, then just put Gary Patterson in there now. It just seems like it was kind of the same, because the reason I'm saying this sounds exactly like what Tom Herman did when he brought Chris Ash in as an analyst, and we all knew what was going to happen. That guy was just waiting.
You hired my replacement, Todd. Yeah.
So if that's going to be the replacement, then fine. But don't bring the guy's replacement in and then make him watch for 6 weeks. That's just my thought.
I think he contributes. I think he adds on because like Sark, PK is a coach who prides himself on adaptability. He is. Guys, go check out Texas Homer's video on his YouTube channel about whenever we hired Peter Kwiatkowski. Amazing video. Still go back and watch that. Sometimes in confusion because I'm watching us play 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and not being able to stop the run. And I'm like, what the hell happened? But it is what it is. I like the Gary Patterson move because we have to have somebody else in that room that says too much of the same thing is bad. And I watched us for 12 games not make any sort of defensive adjustments and continue to give up 200 yards rushing. So a change needed to be made, and I'm okay with the Gary Patterson adding to that room.
Hey, Woodcrest, there's you asked about Karen's Twitter and YouTube channel. I got it there on the screen for you, brother.
Yep. You can also check out Jukes on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. At Care Bear Kieran is where I'm at.
No, I agree. I agree with Tarek. You. That's why I said if you're hiring Gary, like I have to have, if it's even a co-thing, it needs to be some sort of shared ownership or shared risk. You can't just come here and be like, well, I'm going to be hands off like Chris Hash was, and you're really just here to audit and then take over. So that wouldn't fly with me if I'm PK. And if I'm PK, I'm more established than Todd Orlando was, right? Like resume wise, like I'm not.
You might not like this.
Me like that.
He's more established as a defensive coach than Gary Patterson is.
That's true.
He is. It sounds crazy, but he is. Look at this was the dude that was responsible for Boise State beating Oklahoma back in the day. Like,
having as far as like the adjustments, back to, and I'll get back to Steven. I do think a big mistake. This wasn't PK's fault. Was having several coaches in place before PK was hired, so he didn't get to pick his own assistants. And also, PK has to have an edge. And when Jacoby Jones was in, we were fine. Were we elite? No, but there was a huge difference. And as soon as he went down, it was like it wasn't even the same team.
Yeah, we fell off a cliff.
So I think those are the kinds of things that made adjustments not as easy as they might have been otherwise.
But there were some red flags, though, even before that. I mean, when Sark, this was actually the first red flag that we kind of brushed aside because we were in full blown romance with all gas, no brakes in our honeymoon period. So like anything that anybody said of question to Sark at that point, we kind of got like the way I'm talking about OU fans and Brett Venables right now, where you can't, like, nobody's allowed to say anything of like an area of concern or else you're a hater. Like the Mike Stoops thing, I will applaud Texas fans because when he tried to hire Mike Stoops, Texas people we like, hey, pump the brakes. But you know, you end up with Jeff Choate for that 10th spot and the whole PK thing, but it just always seemed disjointed. My area of concern wasn't even necessarily that. Concern was marrying Terry Joseph and PK, because I know in title, Choate and PK shared the D coordinator title, but really, to me, if you're making somebody the head as your pass game coordinator, really Terry Joseph is more of a co-DC than Choate and PK are, like marrying the front end with the back end. And I never understood. I mean, I understood it from a standpoint of these were the people that gave Sark problems, or the most problems, when he was at Bama, and he respected them. He respected what Terry Joseph did at Notre Dame. He respected what PK did at Washington when they played Bama and having a scheme against them. But sometimes marrying those two people together and what they want to do conceptually, it really reminded me of the Cowboys with Rod Marinelli and Chris Richard. It really reminded me of that situation where it was just a clash of ideals. And I know these guys are still here right now, and maybe they just need better personnel and they have something else schemed up. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still very concerned about this defense. I'm concerned to the point where I'm like, offensively, we can't stall if we want to win more games. Offensively, just try to, like, basically you got to go like old school, like mid 2010s OU when they had no defense, and just really try to get the score to a point where, you know, people couldn't breathe.
You mean all gas, no brakes, really?
Well, this is my thing though too. I mean, Steve Sarkisian prides himself on complementary football, and when you can't stop the run and you can't block well enough to run the ball, it's impossible to do that. It's impossible to control clock. It's impossible to keep the defense off, like on the field, and keep the defense off the field when you can't control clock because you can't run the ball or stop the run. Also, I see a lot of comments in here talking about PK not trusting the corners. That's another huge thing that I feel like not enough people have talked about. This This defensive back room is the same room for the past 4 years that haven't been able to turn around and play the ball. They haven't. So why, when he's looking on film all offseason, okay, what's wrong with this Texas defense? They're capable of stopping the run. That hasn't been our problem. We are capable of stopping the run against Georgia, against USC, against all these teams. Hell, even against Oklahoma well. The problem was our defensive backs were busting in coverage. And they weren't capable of turning around and playing the ball. So what does he do? He puts safeties over the top to help them play the ball in the air. And what happened this year still? These corners still got toasted, still weren't able to play the ball in the air. We lost to Caleb Williams because we have nobody that can make a play on the ball. Dead ass. That's what happened. That's why we lost the OU game. When there's 2 3rd and 15 pluses where he just throws up a Hail Mary and we can't make a catch or not, we can't make an interception or a play on the ball, period. Like, that's what's going to happen. So he was just to not trust them. He watched them all off season. He had more eyes on them all season than we did. So I feel like he just got backed into a hole. And when you have a defensive line that's not capable of getting pressure, and to his credit, I'm sure he thought this defensive line could have got pressure because we heard about this defensive line getting pressure and cooking this offense the whole time. It wasn't until we got to the season that we found out, oh, the reason they were getting that pressure is because this offensive line is butt cheeks too. Like that. Like, I'm sorry. That is just sorry.
Yeah, it just got an Amber Alert too.
Yeah,
I feel like half the people watching this video just got the Amber Alert. So
yep, me too.
No, I mean, look, the Kansas. I mean, people bringing up Kansas running up down the field at that point in the season. The confidence was gone.
Checked out. There's something to be said about a team that checks out.
Yeah, they were not. That wasn't the same group that played. I would even say the first half of the Arkansas game where they kind of held it together.
Exactly.
That wasn't the same group. They were already.
Yeah. God, Texas Homer. No, she's always getting lost.
Oh
no,
man, that was.
Beautiful. I know everybody just got to say Amber Alert.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. No, but I can't sit here and just say that PK's scheme is terrible because he literally did more with that secondary this season than we've seen in other seasons. They still ended up getting cooked later on. But how many explosive pass plays did we see? We didn't see that many not against us. Like, not as many as we saw like in the Todd Orlando days when Will Greer essentially brought them back in that game just by, hey, man, they can't guard us deep. Just throw that thing. Oklahoma State, diagnose the one-on-one and throw it up. I've been screaming that for years. If you want to beat Texas, get a one-on-one with one of these defensive backs and throw it up. It's either PI or a catch every single time.
Yeah, in the chat, someone asked, did we ever find out why Keelan Robinson didn't get any more snaps? I think a big reason for that is for Sark, you have to be, especially for running back, you have to be a good threat catching the ball, and Keelan Robinson wasn't. So I think that was kind of the big deal until finally they just had no choice. Obviously, Sark knows he's very explosive, so that wasn't the problem. It was just, I think, the receiving skills.
Also, when you're continuing to go 3 and out, you want to give the ball to your best player to get you out of that jam. Right. I understand getting Keelan and Bijan on the field to throw some misdirection in there. I wish that happened more. But as far as touches are concerned, I'm not going to complain about Keelan Robinson not touching the ball when Bijan Robinson is who we're trying to get us, to use to get us out of the holes.
I will. I'll complain about it. I'll complain about it when we lack speed on the field at certain points of the season and we needed another person to take attention away. I'm not even saying there was times like you can't go half a game where he's not even on the field. That to me is absurd. I mean, he opened the game. I'll never forget. We opened the game against OU. He comes out as a captain. The brother gets like no snaps on the field at all. So people are asking me if
that's probably why they made him the captain. They're like, look, you're not going to get any other love today, so why don't you go out there and represent the team?
We were cooking, though. We were cooking. Second half, he definitely should have touched the ball some more, though. I agree.
That's fine. He gets asked the question. The coach does. Where's Keelan Robinson? He says, we had a meeting about it as a staff. We're going to get the brother worked in. Oh, Oklahoma State game comes. First drive, we get 7, right? And one of the plays, I think it was like a 25-yard like jet sweep, jet pass sweep. It was jet
Michael,
sweep
stop with the Kai Money stuff. That's not even funny.
And
go ahead.
I'm not even going to address that. And then Keelan Robinson goes off for 25. Boom. We don't even see the guy again. I agree with Tark about the lack of receiving skills. And you can't flex him out, and he wasn't able to do the same things that Bijan was able to do when you flex Bijan into the slot. Like he's just more gifted.
Steven,
However,
you know what?
I still want the speed on the field. I still want the threat. You
Steven,
can still
you know what?
work that in better.
Winning is hard. Okay, winning
No.
is hard. All right, winning
You're
is very
fired.
hard.
You're fired.
No, I agree.
I think this coming year. What now? I before I say this, I want people to understand. No, Texas does not have the talent of this team, but what Sark needs to do is kind of take a page out of Joe Brady's playbook and go with more up tempo. Because you're not, I think that's and get when you have Xavier Worthy, Bijan Robinson, and these other players that are coming in that you can get in space. I think if you use more tempo, that will help a lot too. Because you're just going to have to score more points, so he's going to have to use more tempo.
Yeah, Keelan's. Yeah, look at Texas Homer's point. Yeah, Keelan was. Yes, obviously,
No,
like
the
you see
brother
the
doesn't have
speed,
good
you see the
hands
ability.
right now.
The brother doesn't
I
have
agree
good
with that.
hands. It is what it is. Also,
There's a reason Jaden Blue is coming in.
There's a risk, though, also involved whenever you're getting pushed around on the offensive line and you want to throw a 5'9", 170-pound back there. Just like, okay, what happens when he meets somebody in the backfield? You know he's not breaking tackles to get back to the line of scrimmage if we want to run the ball.
But I would also say, I mean, as the line got better, you saw what he did in the West Virginia game, like to Tark's one where he had no choice. I mean, he's still a home run threat.
Yeah.
We've seen fast people here before that had flaws. People have flaws. I'm not saying Keelan Robinson should have got 15 touches. That's not my point. I'm just saying put him on. Like there's times you have people on the field who are the defense ain't even paying attention to. And so now there's another resource allocated to Xavier Worthy. Now there's another resource allocated to wherever 5 is going. All I'm saying is just put the fast people out. And that's what they're recruiting. They're getting to that. Brendan Thompson, I'm sure, whether it's Cowing or whoever they get out of the portal, they want more speed on the field, period, and game breakers.
I'm also sitting here thinking, why do we have 5 tight ends on the roster if we're not going to throw the football to them?
I think you'll see that change some more this year.
I think we will too, because we have some studs that can go out there and catch the ball. But at the same time, I'm like, we don't need 6-7 linemen if they're just going to be dead weight. Like, I'm sorry.
Sark's offense, if you compare it to the NFL, is most akin, I think, to Andy Reid's. And Sark loves to use the tight end when he has one. You can look at Billingsley. You can look at what was his Austin Safarian Jenkins at Washington, who won the Mackey. So he's also used Fred Davis at USC. He uses lots of tight ends.
I was going to bring up Fred Davis too back in the day.
Yeah, so I think you'll see a lot of Jatavian Sanders, Gunnar Helm, and that kind of usage this year. Especially since you're not going to have the receivers that I'm sure Sark probably thought he was going to be in a situation where he'd have Worthy, Stewart, and someone else. But since you're not going to do that, probably you see a good dose of Jatavian Sanders in that kind of split role where he can just go catch the ball and
I'm not too disappointed that we're getting new faces at that position, like the Gunnar Helms, the Jatavian Sanderses, and the Juan Davises. I'm excited to see that. Oh, okay.
Hey,
can I take this
40
one?
Acres?
Can I take this one too?
He's asking about Jatavian Sanders.
Can I take this one? Because I want to tell this to like the entire Texas Longhorns fan base.
I want to make one quick 10-second comment. Keelan Robinson, slipping and tripping. I saw him slipping and sliding all over the place. People are right about that. Sometimes you got to switch to the quarter inch cleats, bro. Yeah. The spikes. You got to switch the spikes up, brother. I've advised this to brothers in the past that have issues. Some people got to wear different size spikes. Real ball players know what I'm talking about. Go ahead. Talk with the Jatavian Sanders stuff.
No, so with Jatavian Sanders, I just wanted to tell the Texas Longhorns fan base, that man is a tight end. I understand he has the body frame, he has the athleticism, he has all the natural ability to be an elite defensive end. But until that kid wants to play defensive end at a high level, until that kid wants to go sack the quarterback, until that kid wants to go embarrass and push around offensive linemen, he should be playing offense. When you're an elite prospect and you're sitting there telling the coaches, oh, I want to play tight end, I don't want you playing defense. I'm sorry. Defensive players have a mentality. Defensive players have that dog in them. That's who I want playing defense. I want a Jamon Tapp playing defense. I want a Justice Finkley playing defense. I want a Joseph Osai playing defense.
I see you, Tracy.
To attack the quarterback. Oh my gosh. I'm not. Hey, look.
No. We do throw to our wide receivers. Xavier Worthy had more receiving yards than all three of the starting wide receivers for A&M. So
I love it. I just, when it comes to
Combined.
Jatavian Sanders, though, last thing I'll say on Jatavian Sanders, can we please stop asking why he's not a defensive end? I understand we want him to play defensive end. I understand. I think he'd be an elite defensive end if he wanted to play the position. But as someone that watched him play in high school numerous times, he doesn't get after it on the defensive side of the ball with even close to the same intensity that he does on the offensive side of the ball. That kid wants to play on offense. He is a tight end, period. Until he wants to play defensive end.
Yeah, which isn't going to happen. So we're done.
Yeah.
I want to add to that real quick. People got to understand, like, the kid at Georgia is the exception, not the rule. Brock Bowers. Tight end at every level. I feel like I say this all the time, but, you got to say things 7 times before people really, really get it. But tight end is another incubator type position a lot of times, unless they put you out there, which I think they staff should have done, to just flex and really play receiver, but you're technically the tight end. But tight end, in terms of all of the nuance of the position, it's a very unique position in itself. You're essentially a lineman, but also a pass catcher, right? And you have all these things, and you're often matched up against really athletic guys on the edge, the Joseph Osais of the world that you got to chip. Also trying to get to the second level and locate guys sometimes, so your footwork has to be on point. There's a lot of nuance that goes to the tight end. So I know a lot of people were frustrated the Gunnar Helms, the Juan Davises, the Jatavian Sanders weren't playing more. However, they had to let those guys bake. I don't have a problem with that. Best of luck to Jared Wiley as well, who decided to move on, got his degree, is entering the portal, looking for a better fit for him. I respect that. I like what Cade Brewer did here, especially when he got his body together and was healthy. He was actually one of our better contested catch guys. It's just that, Cade Brewer is another Longhorn who, right player, wrong time.
And he was literally around for 5 years. He got a touchdown catch in that first USC game.
That US on the throwback screen. And
right,
what could have been, right? But to Kieran's point, if Jatavian Sanders has already been in the room that long, let the whole process play out. Let him continue to bake, because he wasn't here for spring either. At least Juan Davis and Gunnar Helm were here during the spring last year. Now, Juan Davis, to Texas Homer's point, is a freak athlete in a lot of cases, and we would bring him in for random jet sweeps too, which was interesting. But I want to see what those guys have. I think that's one of the reasons why Jared Wiley is another guy that may have looked at the writing on the wall and inevitable of being in the room and seeing, hey, these young dudes are probably coming, and the coaches behind, Jeff Banks and them are like, yo, these guys are ready to go now, at least going to 2022. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. Chat talking about Hudson Card, the wide receiver. I let him play. Let him go through this quarterback competition first, guys. Look at the improvement he has made. It's not like I'm not trying to sit here and say that like Hudson Card will be like, but he still has incredible potential.
The last football we saw from Hudson, he was playing his best football.
Exactly.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Exactly. He seemed to figure it all out.
He finally hit the deep ball.
Yes.
After he watched Kieran's video on Twitter. He says, I gotta get that right. You got it right.
Listen, that's why I made the one shining moment. And what did we do afterwards? We won against Kansas State. I make the videos to inspire the fellas. Nothing gets you more fired up than slander. I'm telling you right now. I will continue.
Embarrassment.
I do it for the fans, and I do it for the team. All right,
All
guys?
right. We're at 1:30. I want to go for another few minutes before we sign off. Do we want to get to hot takes?
Sure,
well, let's do one more question from the audience, and then we'll get to that.
Whose question y'all want? Who do y'all want to jump into? Because everybody's talking.
Put Card at safety. Come on.
Mac Brown is licking his lips at that idea.
Alvin makes a good point though about kids changing positions. I do think defensive end is different from DB, but so Kieran, can you go over your 3 criteria of a coach where you talked about recruiting?
There's development, recruiting, and accountability.
I
That's it.
So
wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at ML said Hudson Card will start. This is a message from inside Texas.
I think the 4th thing I might add to that is relationships. And maybe that goes into accountability. I don't know. But I would add relationships into there. Because relationships is also how you get kids to flip. That's how you get people. And that goes into recruiting. Relationships kind of oversees all 3 of those things, really. Recruiting, development, and accountability. But Nick Saban had the credibility with the kid to say that to him, and for him to listen. And then all it took was big bro Steph Diggs to reinforce that. Because what did big bro say? Bro, if Nick Saban told you to do something, you should do it, or you should at least consider it. Because he had that credibility built in.
It's respect.
So I'm not saying that should be the case with Jatavian Sanders. I was there, but honestly, you changed my opinion there, because I do listen to everybody. You changed my opinion there in terms of I don't want somebody playing defensive end that doesn't inherently want to do that or have that dog in them like that. Now, he will need to do that as a blocker playing tight end.
May I offer a caveat here?
Please.
Okay. Number 1, I absolutely agree. If Nick Saban tells you to do something, you do it without thinking twice. In the case of Jatavian Sanders, I don't know if Jatavian Sanders is physical enough to play defensive end. You have to be you have to be literally the most physical guy on the defense. I don't think Jatavian Sanders is that, and I don't know if he has the intensity to be that kind of an edge rusher. It's not that he doesn't have the talent. I absolutely think he does, but there are just certain traits I'm not sure he has yet. So and the other thing is, I think there has to be a certain desire and want that to be. I think Jatavian Sanders sees himself as a Travis Kelce type, highlight type of guy. That's just what he wants. If he wanted to be on the defense, especially considering the entire season, he wasn't getting on the field, and they needed someone, he could have easily gone to PK, who is the edge rushing coach, and said, "Hey, give me a shot."
You don't think that's my biggest thing. When we're sitting here and the coaches are publicly talking about not getting after the quarterback, you don't think that kid would have sat there and been like, he's not getting any playing time. He's a 4th, 5th string tight end right now. You don't think that kid would have gone to PK and been like, hey, put me on here. Let me go get him real quick.
That was one of the most blunt things Sark said this season was he was like, yeah, we need to find some pass rushers.
Yeah.
Shots fired at everybody.
Straight up cannot get after the quarterback. When you got to put a 6'6", 310-pound Christian Jones lookalike at defensive end to get some pressure from the edges or stop the run, that's a problem. Like Jatavian Sanders will be elite at whatever he does. I want to preface that, because Jatavian Sanders is a freak athlete. He's an incredibly talented young man. But until that kid wants to play the position, until he wants to, it's not going to happen. It's not. I think everybody's just like, why isn't he there? That kid can go and ask to play that position. Just like Roshan Johnson said, oh, you know what? We're struggling at running back right now. Coach, put me in. Let me go play running back.
I'll make an analogy in reverse, different position. Our beloved Micah Parsons. For those who don't know, when he was in high school, he was an all-world running back.
Exactly.
Right? Like you look at,
he'd have been an NFL running back too.
Huh?
He'd have been an NFL running back too.
He would have been an NFL. I mean, think about the measurables, everything.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why people don't even realize why we played the Giants the way we did, because Dan Quinn wanted him to mirror Saquon Barkley, right? In terms of the measurables and everything. He's like, I'm going to put you right here because the only way the Giants can beat me is if Saquon breaks an 80-yard run. So I'm just going to put my best athlete here to mirror him so we don't have that issue, because Mike Glennon ain't going to beat me over the top. But my point is, Micah Parsons is an angry person. He's a violent, from a football context, not off the field.
When you're sitting there a preseason game, begging to get in the game. When you're the future of the franchise and you sitting there in preseason games just begging to get in, saying that you're a ball player. You want to go out there and hit somebody. Player. That's what I'm saying. That's a defensive player. That's a dog. That's a defensive player right there. Also, another thing on the Trayvon Diggs thing, that's a whole other thing though too about like coaches and respect. Having the pedigree that Nick Saban does, you listen. You know what I mean? When you don't, you get in fights with Steve Sarkisian and practices and stuff like that. If you want to know about earning the trust and really getting the team behind you and buying in, go watch Last Chance U Basketball. Watch how much that coach does for that entire team and watch how they react sometimes. They don't want to hear all that stuff.
Steven, put up Martin's question real quick. I want to make sure we do that before hot takes.
This one?
That's the one. Ooh. Sadly, it's probably better to talk about this now rather than when it happens, right? I'll just go ahead and I think that, and I said this before on Twitter, this before the season, I said during the season, I'm a big Steve Sarkisian supporter. I think you have to give a coach 4 years before you make a change. I think where this is a little complicated though is when is Texas going to the SEC? Because as great, we started this show off by talking about how great the recruiting class was. The 23 class is going to be just as important as that 22 class because you need to stack good classes on top of good classes. You need another top 5 class. You need a class that's full of really good receivers, which we have plenty of in the state of Texas in the 23 class, especially my boy Jonte Cook. He has to be a Longhorn. He has to be after Evan Stewart. I can't do this again.
Shout out.
Anyway, so that's a big thing. I don't think even if you went 5-7, and the reason I know it won't happen is because Charlie Strong had 2 losing seasons back to back and got retained. So I don't think even if another losing season, it would have to be more than just losing. There would have to be personal problems or something else going on for Sark to lose his job. I think you give Sark at least 4 years before you do anything. But I fully expect to see some real improvement. And I'm not going to make any season predictions until we know what the final roster looks like. But I think at a minimum, Texas will win at least 8 games next year, every state.
I love that. I love that optimism. That's been beaten out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. The optimism.
I understand. We've been in the desert for 40 years, wandering around. Without Moses.
Yeah, I had my glass of bleach poured after that Kansas game. I'm not gonna lie. He had to call me and talk me off the edge, you know. But no, if we do go 5-7, 6-6, Sark's gonna remain. He's gonna stay here. It's gonna be the first time that a quarterback, that either one of these quarterbacks plays more than 3 games, starts more than 3 games. You can't do that. I'm sorry. You can't. Hudson Card's next start, if he does start again, will be his 3rd ever start in college.
Yeah, think about that.
Think about that.
Hudson Card's 4th start, if he gets it, will be against Alabama. Quinn Ewers' 2nd start, if he gets it, will be against Alabama.
Exactly.
It's not exactly the dream start you wanted. Of course, if you win, you'll be a legend, but let's definitely not get ahead of ourselves.
Also, we're going to have defensive players that are having their first starts next year because we need new edges. We're going to have secondary players that need new starts because our safeties, let's be frank, aren't too deep right now.
I think Terrence Brooks and B.J. Allen are starting in that Alabama game.
Over Keaton Crawford and Jahdae Barron. That's a pretty hot take. I'm not going to lie. I think those 2 guys.
No, I think Allen will get one of the safety spots. I think Terrence Brooks is going to get one of the corner spots. But I think there'll be a rotation with those 3.
Wow. Deshaun James coming back too as well. We should get to some hot takes.
Just keep him as a return man.
Some hot takes.
Thank you for
I have a very hot take on him.
Go ahead.
Are we in the Big 12 next year?
All right. So first little hot take. All right. Deshaun Jameson, I don't want to see him play corner another down of his football career. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he's incredibly talented individual returning the football. If you can't get a Jacob Cowing in the portal, if you can't get a good, solid wide receiver, move him back to wide receiver. Move him back to wide receiver. That stride length, his speed and space, Steve Sarkisian can make it work. I'm telling you right now, he can make it work. Either that or safety. One of those two. I can't stand to see him at corner, especially with guys like Jahdae Barron and Keaton Crawford waiting their turns. Terrence Brooks, I think with the right development is a first-round pick. So I got to see it, but Deshaun Jameson to safety or wide receiver, that's my first hot take. How do you guys feel about it?
No. I certainly keep him as a return man. I don't think you put him as a wide receiver.
If you can't get anyone else in the portal, you're telling me
you
wide receiver's a bad idea.
You should be able to get someone, or you just roll with what you have. I don't. It's not. He doesn't have the hands or the hips, frankly, to do it. So
to do wide receiver.
Yeah, I think you're going to need more. He's not a fit. He's a return man. Let him be Devin Hester.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When you've watched Jameson track the ball downfield, when's the last time he got an interception? What was it, Oklahoma State? But
when he threw it directly to him.
Right.
Yes.
But I mean, I haven't seen the ball tracking skills that I thought he had a couple years ago, like even deep downfield. I mean, I'm just talking about finding the football. That's something where you watch, again, going back to the Trayvon Diggs example. When people throw on Trayvon Diggs, when you watch the Dallas Cowboys, he looks like a receiver tracking the football. That's a natural gift that he has as a corner.
Yes.
I just haven't seen that from Deshaun. And so I'm with you. I mean, if in terms
Texas
of
homer, oh my God.
utilizing him as, like a Keelan Robinson type role, if you want to put him on offense and just, just trying to get him out in space or stuff like that, if you want to use him in that capacity. But defensively, I said this, a couple of videos ago, I have to have an open, honest conversation with Deshaun. These young boys are coming. So, you're going to have to compete for there's no guarantee. Even guys like Keandre Coleman and everybody coming back, y'all are going to have to earn your spot, or you're going to have to be comfortable being a rotational player and not blowing up our chemistry. Don't just expect to be handed the job.
Pause right there. Take all of the snaps by cornerbacks played this season. Who was the most impressive corner?
Jahdae Barron.
Not even a question, right?
Yeah.
How do you see that and then still put Deshaun Jameson out there?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Joseph that question.
Josh Thompson's gone. I think Josh Thompson was a serviceable corner. Nothing elite, but serviceable. He has NFL measurables. He'll make it on a team. He'll do something. He'll be better in the NFL than he was here. I'm sorry. I can't justify putting Deshaun Jameson back at corner. Even if you don't like my wide receiver take, I see you guys talking about hands of stone. We don't need any more of that. Put him at safety. Put everything in front of him. Let him play the field. Let him run sideline.
My boy BJ Allen's got that covered. Don't worry.
I would love to see BJ Allen start next year, but still, that's a freshman versus someone that's had 4 years of going up against Big 12 defenses. You know what I mean? Like, you tell me Deshaun Jameson can be Kerry Vincent-esque back there?
I don't hate the safety idea, but I don't. Yeah. I do hate the wide receiver idea.
Okay. Maybe wide receiver is a bit too hot. I don't know. It's not like our wide receivers right now can catch. So I'm just saying. No. Do you guys have any hot takes, or should I just let these things rip?
I love responding to your hot takes, Karen. I have a question. This isn't a hot take.
Go ahead.
Because I have a question, because I've heard this pitched around too, since we're talking about possible position changes. And I think this is the appropriate time to talk about position changes, especially before the spring.
Yes.
What would you consider moving Overshown back to safety?
Absolutely not. No.
You would leave Overshown where he is.
I want,
because I've heard that pitched around. I'm not saying that's where
I wouldn't move him. I wouldn't move him to safety, but I would maybe move him to that star role they were thinking of using for Harold Perkins.
This is my thing with DeMarvion Overshown. If he wants to be an NFL football player, he needs to have a healthy offseason where he can actually gain the weight that is required to shed blocks, to be bigger in the box, because he's getting shoved around right now. He's instinctual. He's fast. He's an incredible football player. But I'm sorry, 221's not big enough. It's not big enough here. It's not big enough in the SEC. It's not even big enough in the Big 12 right now. Like, it's just not. He needs a healthy offseason, which he hasn't had the past 2 seasons. put on the muscle, take the training room seriously, because more than anything, that's more individual driven than it is anything else. He has to take the training room seriously and put on some weight. Then he can be an elite linebacker like we all know that he can be. That's my opinion on it.
To answer James's question about the mullet, it's the Tiger King mullet on Amazon.
Good mullet. It's a solid mullet.
Hey,
yeah.
I know Snacks underperformed last year and had by his standards. I mean, he's been open and honest. He didn't play football well last year to what he wanted to do. But some of the name calling, they call him selfish and stuff like that. I mean, he is a guy that wanted to come back on the team. Everybody's making videos. I don't have a problem with him, in his personality at all. I think, he's a lighthearted spirit. My only thing is, if I had opportunity to share any insight as a fan watching a game, I would say that I would need you to get in the best shape of your life if you're committed to that. And because I haven't seen that commitment to your conditioning, to your technique, right? Because it's one thing to be big. It's another thing when you're big and your pad level's too high. Yeah. When you're big and you're getting, you're getting stalemates and
he's big, but he's sweet. He needs to be a vicious lion type guy.
Yeah. I
don't have any issues with Coleman. I just don't know if you can build. I don't know if I can build like he's not my my Vita Vea of the defense, right? Like, just the reality of the situation. Yeah. But I'm not kicking him off. I mean, I think that's a little
Coburn can be serviceable. I have another hot take for you.
Oh, I had one.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tarek. I want you to get yours in.
Texas A&M will still go 8-4 next year.
Universally agreed upon. Not even a question. Not even quite. I don't even think that's a hot take. That's
now,
just fact.
I live here, so let me give my reasoning for this. My wife is a Texas A&M fan, so she and I went to the South Carolina game. I wore my Texas shirt. And actually, the Aggie fans were very, very, very nice to me. It was a great atmosphere, fun game. Jimbo Fisher cannot develop a quarterback to save his life. He will not throw the ball to wide receivers. And next year, you're going to have a few problems. One, you're getting both Alabama and Auburn on the road. I think that those are going to both be losses. Miami, they're with Mario Cristobal, that's potentially lost there. And I'm still not convinced that they're going to beat LSU or Ole Miss. So I just don't. I see them having another great defense, but I don't see their offense taking another big step. I think that Jimbo Fisher would be well served to just let someone else call the plays, but he's not going to do that. So I think they'll go 8-4 next year, and they'll still have another class because they'll just pay all the players like they've been doing.
I agree with the Jimbo Fisher going 8-4.
A&M has the best group of mercenaries since the British Army. That is beautiful. Thank you. I love really that. Good one.
I will say this though about Jimbo Fisher. Although I think his quarterback development is not elite, he does get elite players. I think he is. I've said this before, and it's something that I've just now started to like really dive into. I think Jimbo Fisher is the Kirby Smart of the SEC West. He's not capable of putting together schematically elite teams offensively.
That's an insult to Kirby Smart.
No, it isn't. Now listen, he's recruiting at the same level that Kirby Smart is. He has an elite defense on the field week in and week out. Typically, he's Nick Saban's little baby. You know what I mean? He gets rocked to sleep every time. But I will say this: he gets elite talent. He does. He gets elite talent. And when you got guys like Connor Weigman, like Max Johnson, who had by all means a pretty solid year in the SEC last year, when you get guys like Haynes King, who I think is not going to be as special as the other two, but Connor Weigman is a ball player. He is. Christian Ponder, EJ Manuel, granted, they did not pan out in the NFL. They put up numbers at Florida State because he gives them the opportunity, and they are talented. They are talented. Jameis Winston is a freak talent. He's going to put talent around them. FSU was good back in the day, not because of their scheme, but because they had Kelvin Benjamin and Devontae Freeman and Dalvin Cook and Jalen Ramsey and Ronald Darby. They had talent everywhere, and that's the thing that he's doing at Texas A&M right now. So I think they can be really good. I'm not going to say that they're going to be amazing. That offense is still going to be anemic at times, but Jimbo Fisher has done this before, and the scheme doesn't have to be outstanding for him to perform well. That's my take on it.
I think it does in the SEC when you're going up against the likes of Saban, Kiffin, and other offensive minds. You're not going to be able to just do what Alabama used to do, and just run the ball and slow. There's too many points going to be scored.
That's a fair argument too, but that's why I think he's the current.
I also think
SEC West.
The other thing is I don't think Brian Kelly is a fit at LSU because that kind of strikes me as weird, but he's a really good coach. So it's not a guarantee that they're going to be LSU, even with the new staff.
This is a fun fact This is okay. This is, I guess, it's not a hot take, I don't think, but I think Brian Kelly would have been a better fit in Texas than he is at LSU. There's some red flags I'm seeing at LSU culturally. They're like the type of culture like it's set up for winning. The last three we've heard it all the time. Last three coaches, people have coached there, won a national championship. They will do whatever it takes. And Saban left.
Two of them.
Yeah, but they will do whatever it takes. But LSU, the BK fit, I'm curious about. I think BK politically would have had that credibility and been able to maneuver and deal with RBS a little bit better in Austin than he will at LSU, where you can't you're not gonna be able to BS anybody down there. It's just kind of straight up and down. I do want to get to Leon's point. Thank you for the super chat again, Leon, too, tonight. Do we get impressed at home next year against Bama? If we lose badly, does that put Sark on the hot seat? Look, we might be playing, who knows? We might be playing the defending national champion, Alabama Crimson Tide.
I'll go on a limb here and say we will.
You're saying we will be? Okay.
We will be. Well, this is one thing that you can't argue with.
Saban this will be the easiest playoff he's ever had. This is going to be easy. He's going to win again.
You got to play the games though first. You never know. They lost Mechie already.
They are going to kill Cincinnati, and it doesn't matter who they play, whether it's Michigan or Georgia. He's going to smoke them too.
I agree.
Give him the trophy, and let's not even. It's just going to be like, it's going to be sad too, because in Georgia's case, I think they can match up well with Alabama, but they have to play JT Daniels. How in the world?
Yeah.
How in the world they didn't make that switch at halftime? I was like, I was thinking like, Kirby, you literally had this in the national championship against you. You were winning, and then Saban said, "Okay, I have to make the change, or I'm going to lose."
Bryce Young,
and if you'd made the change and you'd won, you don't have to play Saban again because it's over for him.
Yeah. Anybody with real football knowledge knew that game was not going to be a blowout like people were trying to hype it up to be. Because Alabama can stop the run. When you stop Georgia's run, their offense is
made all year was
taking Bama. But to the super chat question, I don't know about embarrassed because it'll be earlier in the year. Alabama will be breaking in some new stars. Not that they won't be a great team again, because they obviously will.
We'll still have the coach and the quarterback.
Right. So that'll be the one. It won't be like Arkansas, I feel, because in college football, the crowd does make a difference, and if the crowd being on your side might help a lot. You saw what that did for A&M, things like that. So I don't think a blowout. I think it might be. I mean, I think Alabama will win by like 10 plus, but Texas will kind of like be more or less in the game for a while. I think that'll happen.
I'll put it like this, and I always use this example. What your team is in the second week of the season is not in any way a fair representation of what your team is as a whole. Ohio State in 2014 got spanked at home against Virginia Tech.
Oh, hold on a second. If Alabama versus Texas is an 11 a.m. kickoff, I'm
that
done.
Won't be the case.
I quit. I was like, that's it.
No, I will say this though.
He's just joking.
I hope we do not start the season ranked.
Me either. I agree with that.
I hope we don't. We haven't earned that.
And I don't
But
care.
I don't care either.
But to the point of Sark being on the hot seat, the thing is, the Alabama game, win or lose, doesn't matter. If we win the game by luck somehow, that's not really the point. You need to be working on getting towards the Big 12 title, things like that. That's the goal, not beating Alabama. It's not the same for Texas as it is for Texas A&M. If Texas A&M beats Alabama, that gives them a shot to go to the SEC title game. If we win, you feel good about it, but it doesn't really matter. And you'll forget about it in a couple of weeks, just like A&M forgot about it after a few more weeks.
Also, that game's not going to be. I'll go out on a limb and say that game's not just going to be a complete shellacking. Sarkisian's going to prepare for that game like he did for the Oklahoma game this past season, and he's going to bring his best plays. He's going to empty the playbook. Now, can we match up with them? Probably not. They have freaking Will Anderson and Bryce Young coming back next year. Like, those are the best two players on both sides of the ball.
I'm just glad they don't have Jamison Williams coming back to coach Deshaun Jameson.
I do too, but they have Kayshon Boutte.
Now, I don't know if Boutte's going to do it, but I'll see.
You what? Okay, never mind. They got Kayshon Boutte. They got
Ricks now.
They got Elias Ricks. They're
calling Elias LSU. They're calling him Elias Durant, which is hilarious.
You can't beat them. Join them.
My next chapter.
My next chapter. You know it.
Well, that's what Max Johnson. Well, Max Johnson did the reverse. He said, "If you do beat them, join them."
There you go.
I actually like Max Johnson's fit for A&M's offense.
I think he starts next year. A&M. That was a good pickup.
I think that's a good pickup for them. That's the Jimbo Fisher type quarterback. Yep. He'll throw the ball well to the tight ends. He'll throw it up the seam. Smart kid.
He'll hand the ball off to A-Chain and Spiller.
He's way more steady than Zach Calzada ever was. Yep. Like, you're not going to run into
he'll give Evan Stewart a towel to wipe the tears out of his eyes for not getting the ball.
Goodness gracious. That I'm interested to see how that works out. But
I
don't know. I think, guys, I'll be honest. I think A&M is going to have a really good season this next year. I do. Okay. I do. I don't want to believe that, and they haven't given me any proof to, but I feel like they will. But I also think Texas is going to as well, which leads me to my next hot take.
Before we do that, who are the two secret signings? We don't know.
For Texas?
Yeah. Remember, Sark said it's never too late for a Sark after dark.
So we signed somebody.
I'm going to assume that's Campbell.
It's either Devin Campbell or
Larry Turner Gooden.
No, it's a big guy. I think it's either Devin Campbell or Ernest Green. I think it's a big guy. I might be reading too much into the Twitter stuff with the Mark Henry gifs and stuff, but it is what it is. A&M was dropping bags. It's the bag game now, so I think we're going to continue to see A&M and Texas go for the top spot recruiting wise, as long as we do our job on the field. Because hell, if you think
coincidence, much Texas talent stayed home this year.
No, not at all.
And they were 8-4. We're 5-7, and everybody's staying home now once NIL's in play. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. Jimbo Fisher said it. There was NIL deals going on. I mean, Georgia was able to build that thing from the bottom. Nowhere.
What's up with Amari over at Duncanville? Is he going to Ohio State or is he in play?
It has been. I'll put it this way. It has been Ohio State the entire time. Herman and staff botched that recruitment terribly. Like, just completely ruined that recruitment. He was never going Texas at all whenever Tom Herman was
we're
here.
a year removed now.
Yes, I know. We're a year removed now. We're back in it. I think he wanted to make his decision for Ohio State earlier on, but they're up in the air with their defensive picture right now. As far as like Kerry Coombs staying, is he calling plays? Is he not? Is he gone? He should be gone, let's be honest, or he should be the corners coach or secondary coach. I think we have a chance. I don't want to get too hyped up though, because Amari's very up and down. At first it was just OU, then it was OU and Ohio State, then it was just Ohio State, and now it's Texas and Ohio State. Like you never really know. But Amari Obor, I will say this: last season I didn't really see the 5-star rating. This season he turned it up. He gets after the quarterback. I think he can start next year for us if he comes, and I think that's the biggest pitch for Texas to throw at him. He is everything that everybody wants Jatavian Sanders to be a defensive end. That is what Amari Abor is. I'm telling you, Amari Abor is special at that defensive end spot. But yeah, no, it's my next hot take. Speaking of defensive players, guys. I'm sorry. I just had to. I've been eager to spit this one out. Jordan Whittington should play safety next season. I felt this way.
Not really a hot take.
Let me finish it. I felt this way before he said next season was his last year of football. I think Jordan Whittington, bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I think Jordan Whittington should look to move on. I want to get your opinions on this. And I love the kid. I think he's amazing. Obviously, he's not looking to transfer, but my thing is, if you're looking to play wide receiver this next season, we need another roster spot. I think it'd be best if he hit the transfer portal and went elsewhere. I think he'll succeed elsewhere, get a fresh start, no more injuries.
So
I don't want to see it.
Just so I understand the question, are you saying tell him either move to safety here and stay or leave if you want to play wide receiver? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying if he moves to safety, that's a multiple year step. And because he's saying that next season is his last year of college football, I think he should move elsewhere.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yes.
I
want to get your opinions on it. I do. Because I'm not trying to say like I want him to leave. I'd be happy if
Steven, before we leave, we have to talk about whether NIL is good for college football or not. But I'll answer Kieran's point. I think that Jordan Whittington could almost seamlessly make the move back to safety because he's played it for so long. And that's a job you can simplify, whether you're the field safety or the boundary one. So I don't worry about that so much. I think he'll do fine as a wide receiver as long as he is healthy. But the point is, it doesn't matter which side he's on. He's never healthy. So you got to be happy for him when he's there because he is a player. We saw how much we needed him, especially Casey Thompson. But I definitely don't think he should leave. I think he should stay at Texas.
And I'm not saying this from a Texas fan's perspective. I'm saying this from a Jordan Whittington fan. I think a change of scenery and a switch up would help him. He get out of Austin, get out of the same freaking rehabilitation center that you've been in for the past 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I feel bad for the kid. I hope that he does well. I would love for him to play for us next year and catch footballs, but I think he should go elsewhere.
Take it away, Steve.
I know it's important to him based upon what he said, to get his degree from Texas. Yes. And I think with the amount of life that he's gone through this year, that's when you start hearing, especially young guys, and we already know he's an old soul, but when you start hearing young guys talk like that, like, there's mortality in play for more than just football, right? And so it's like, I totally get what you're saying. I actually would agree with you, Kieran, if it wasn't for a lot of the stuff in his life that's happened off the field recently and some of the stuff he's been through. I think he really loves it here. I think he really, really loves it here. And he wouldn't have come back. Like, he had every excuse in the world to hang it up last season. No one would have blamed him. Getting injured, losing a parent, and he still came back and played.
Yeah.
The
kids got hard for sure.
Yeah.
Once again, this is a hot take.
I agree with you. I agree with you in terms of where you're coming from on it. I just think for him, I also agree with you that safety is a multi-year move. If he was a sophomore, if this was 2 years ago,
yes, sure. I agree.
Sure.
I don't want him to move.
But right now, I just want to see him finish strong. But I also will say this. If I'm Sark and whoever the new receiver coach is, and I'm going to say this for him, and I'm going to say, and it's going to sound bad, I'm going to say this for Troy O'Mary as well. I want y'all, but I can't really account for y'all, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
I can't account for y'all anymore because your bodies are failing you. Like Troy O'Mary, I mean, that's 2 years almost with the knee. Jordan Whittington, the whole body, right? Yeah. This is the sad side of football where this happens to kids even at such a young age. So unless something changes, I want y'all on the team, and I'll use you if you're here, but I can't account for you. I need to recruit and hit the transfer portal as if I'm looking for 2 more receivers to put next to Xavier Worthy and to give Brendan Thompson some time, so I'm not heavily relying on another freshman. So I do see where you're coming from, though, Karen. I'm not going to blow you up over that one. I know some people in the chat are getting emotional right now.
I know it's a hot take for a reason. I know it's something I definitely believe in.
Elbow cough. That's hilarious.
Yes,
that is hilarious.
Before we get out of here, we want to address NIL.
Yeah.
Can I go with my last hot take though, real quick?
He's got another hot take.
Okay, go ahead.
It's my last one. It's the one that I put on Twitter. I feel like we'd be missing the boat if we didn't talk about this. Casey Thompson with a healthy thumb. Healthy thumb.
Oh,
now listen to me.
No.
Casey Thompson with a healthy thumb is the greatest quarterback to ever put on that number 11 jersey and play for the University of Texas.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Should I mute him?
Stop.
Go ahead.
Should I mute him?
No, go ahead. Can I tell you why?
Okay.
Can I tell you why?
No, let him finish.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
All right. Is your argument Sam Ehlinger? Is that who it is? Is that who it is for y'all?
Yes, it's Sam Ehlinger.
Obviously.
Okay, it's Sam Ehlinger. Now listen.
Although
See,
I wouldn't be shocked if Quinn Ewers wears number 11 next year. Go ahead.
That'd be crazy, actually.
That's a hot take.
Hey, he would instantly become the best.
Not really. 3's not available. Jatavian Sanders have it. Quinn Ewers looks up to Sam Ehlinger. I could absolutely see him wearing that.
Now listen. If your argument Sam Ehlinger, right? Has he ever had a streak of games performing at the level that Casey Thompson did? Granted, yes, he played better competition. He played LSU and had an amazing game.
Oh my god.
Casey Thompson played Oklahoma. Casey Thompson played Oklahoma. A statistically similar defense in Oklahoma and put up 6 touchdowns on them. Now, everyone crucifies the healthy thumb Casey Thompson argument because they said that he played poorly against TCU, right?
And he did.
Sam Ehlinger played on the road one time against TCU and played up undoubtedly worse. He threw 4 interceptions and lost.
Right, but you're comparing
TCU with a more talented team. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, with a healthy thumb, there's no evidence to say that Casey Thompson was that bad. I'm just saying.
The problem here is multifaceted. First of all, you only had Casey Thompson for 10 games, and you're comparing Sam Ehlinger to over 40, I think.
You had Casey Thompson for 4 games with a healthy thumb. I'm saying healthy thumb is the key in this argument. Healthy thumb. Casey Thompson.
Then you don't have an argument. Too small of a sample size. This is that's
also so. Yeah. Hold on. Kieran's trying to give himself a handicap here, but I'm not going to give it.
It's not a handicap. It's the basis of the argument.
No,
Casey
I'm going to tell you
with
why.
A healthy thumb.
I'm going to tell you why. Do you know how many injuries Sam Ehlinger had that we never talked about? That never got reported?
A lot.
Like more than just a thumb, bro.
I understand.
More than just a thumb.
When he was healthy, he still didn't even have as many games that were as impressive as the 4 that Casey Thompson played.
The difference is we don't even know when Sam Ehlinger was healthy. To be honest with you, to be very, very, especially the way he was being used.
Yeah,
we want to be.
It was
real.
a battering ram. It was a battering ram.
Literally a battering ram.
I'll put it this way though.
Kieran, before you say anything else, do you still want to be my friend?
I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I love
you know who my favorite Longhorn of all time is, right?
Yeah, it's Sam Ehlinger, which I don't understand because there's a million better options. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Sam Ehlinger.
Talking about quarterbacks, by the way. I had this up here, but he's talking about quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, no. Also, Derek Johnson's the best 11 to ever. It's not even close. Sam Ehlinger's not even in the same category.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Ricky Williams is above him as well.
Yeah, Derek Johnson led the whole nation in forced fumbles and did the tomahawk chop every single time and knocked the ball out. Yes. It was wild. But Major Applewhite. So I'm gonna take, because you're only 23. Major Applewhite, I think it was the year you were born.
Yeah.
It was the year you said 1998. Am I not correct? You said 98.
Yeah.
The year you were born, Major Applewhite is a freshman. That was the year Ricky Williams won the Heisman. I believe the following year, Major Applewhite won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Has Sam Ehlinger ever won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year?
Has Casey Thompson?
No.
So
has Major Applewhite or Sam Ehlinger thrown 6 touchdowns against OU? We're talking a very small sample size, but I'm saying that. Okay, listen. Listen,
Kieran, I'm saying this as your friend who's actually training to be a scientist and is in a PhD program in neuroscience. This is sillier than the flat Earth discussion. It's that stupid.
Tarek, has there ever been a 4-game sample size?
You are literally having an argument about 4 games. Stop.
That's what the argument is. My God. If you don't want to take part in the dumb argument, then don't. But what I'm saying is, has there ever been a 4-game stretch by a quarterback wearing number 11 at the University of Texas better than Casey Thompson's?
No.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
You're changing your argument, though, brother.
I'm saying Casey Thompson with a healthy thumb is the greatest quarterback to ever wear number 11
we're losing the audience. We got to do something else.
It's the best. It's the best. You guys can cry about it.
I'm going to say it again. This is sillier than flat Earth.
Chat off of that. Hold on. Dimple Wonder said that take was so bad. I gotta give Steve.
You know what? You guys can hate on it until you find another quarterback throw for 6 touchdowns against Oklahoma.
Okay,
he undoubtedly.
Kieran, let me say this. If you are trying to get Steven and I and the audience to give Casey Thompson props for what he did versus OU, yes, we're going to give it to him. Fine. That doesn't make him. That doesn't put him in the Sam Ehlinger discussion. It doesn't.
I don't think he's as great as Sam Ehlinger at all. No.
Also,
definitely not.
What's more?
Sam Ehlinger is a 4-year starter. Of course not. Go ahead.
Yeah. Very QAnon.
Was OU's defense better than the LSU defense that Sam Ehlinger put 400-something yards on? Yes or no?
Yes.
Didn't that defense have Ricks and Stingley on it?
OU's defense this year was better than the LSU.
Ricks wasn't on it. Stingley was on it, starting as a freshman. Defensive line-wise, Isaiah Thomas, better defensive lineman than anybody that Kalebon Chasen, solid, right? Got completely bottled that game because Sam Ehlinger had Sam Cosmi blocking him the entire game. Sorry. Isaiah Thomas.
Sam was holding
Perrion Winfrey.
Gary Vincent.
I understand. Patrick Queen.
Sam Ehlinger also won his OU game against Kyler Murray. That was a much better OU team.
And then he went 3 for 17 on passes, 10 yards or more in a game that they were supposed to be the Big 12 favorites last year. He has one win over. Hey, also, Casey Thompson played unequivocally better in his game this year against OU.
In answer to Surfer Boy 3000, I addressed this at the beginning of the show. I will still be wearing the wig no matter what. I'm president of the Quinn Ewers fan club today. Okay, here comes a speech that both Steven and Kieran will appreciate as African Americans. Here we go. Quinn Ewers today, Quinn Ewers tomorrow, Quinn Ewers forever. Boom. Book it. You know what I'm talking about.
Casey Thompson, healthy thumb today. Casey Thompson, healthy thumb tomorrow. Casey Thompson, healthy thumb forever. You guys can cry about it. Highest, that 4-game stretch. Right. That 4-game stretch. Let me finish.
Before people start unsubscribing from Fanatic perspective, let's talk about NIL.
No quarterback in history's had a higher passer efficiency rating in the 4-game stretch than Casey Thompson.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's jump into NIL. Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna give Kieran's at. Y'all slide into his DMs.
Then I trigger everybody at.
Okay.
As far with him about this, I'm done talking about it.
I think a few things about NIL. One, it's giving the people an opportunity to earn money that they really need and deserve. I think for fans, it will be great because we now can get the NCAA football game back. Thank you. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for that.
That's all I care about.
So anyway, and actually yours was 4th string at Ohio State. But going back to, I think that NIL needs to be more regulated because it's not really clear what you can, because it's not regulated. It's just, it feels like anyone can do anything. Lane Kiffin was talking about this on the Rich Eisen show, but overall, I'm a proponent of NIL. It's really not going to change college football because people are talking about people like Quinn Ewers and Travis Hunter, who went to Jackson State, right?
Not Jacksonville State, like Aaron said.
Right. Jackson State. That's what I thought. So the people who are making like big money off of NIL, this is like the 0.01% of NIL. Most people are not going to make that much money. And of course, when people who have made money like DJ Ugalele and they've kind of fallen on their face, people are going to not give out those deals as much. So it's not going to be anywhere near like what the NFL is. The kids will make some money. It's not going to be a bunch of kids becoming millionaires. The way for these kids to make the most money is still going to be to get to the NFL and get that second contract. So it's all going to be left on the field. You'll make some more money along the way and have more and be taken care of better. And I think that's a good thing, but it's never going to be something to really worry about.
I'm all for paying the kids. There's been decades on decades. You guys are just expecting me to say something hot now. It's pretty funny. I'm just looking at the chat. Like the chat's probably just like, man, I gotta turn this shit off. Like he's talking to me, like, you know. But I think it's great.
Well, when you diss a Longhorn legend for 5 minutes rolling, that's probably going to happen from time
Calling
to time.
Sam Ehlinger a legend is pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you seen the record books lately, pal?
Yeah, I saw his record though on the field as a starter too.
Let's get to the NIL
Anyway,
point.
I'm not saying Sam Ehlinger is great. Give him his credit. Never an elite quarterback in college football. Just saying. Not trying to diss Sam though. I love Sam. Sam's a great guy. Jeez, I don't want to make this seem like I'm anti Sam Ehlinger. NIL though, great for college football in my opinion, and I'm not just saying that from the perspective of a fan of the richest program. Actually, I am. I think that makes things a lot better. I think there's good things and bad things. So on one hand, it allows these kids to make money off of their name, their image, their likeness. Reggie Bush comes to mind. That dude would have been a multimillionaire, and he's missing out on millions right now because it wasn't allowed back in his day.
And a Heisman Trophy that was stolen.
And a Heisman Trophy that was stolen from him. But give it to Vince. I don't care. I just think when you start looking at smaller college football programs that maybe don't have the financial backing of the large ones, it gets pretty iffy because it's like, how can you compete on the national landscape if you don't have the money now to pay these kids? That's in honor of competitiveness and fairness. It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie. That's my only concern. But then again, I don't want to take money out of the pockets of kids that people are willing to pay them. You know what I mean? Like it's not fair to the kids either. I think I saw someone in the chat say that there could possibly be a cap. I think that's probably coming. There probably will be a cap on how much money can be spent on NIL deals. But then again, the NCAA, because it's an idiotic organization, regulated this by saying that they don't want the schools to take part. So because you said that, all of these NIL deals are supposed to be done by third parties. They're supposed to be done outside of the school's organization, correct? So how are you supposed to tell a company?
Ooh, buddy. Ooh.
What?
He threw you under the bus. He said, I thought Catch couldn't be unthroned until tonight. Ooh.
Buddy also said that I don't watch Amari Abor's play when I'm literally in Duncanville, Texas right now. Buddy, you're a hater. Yeah. Let's just be honest here. But anyway, I made the whole argument about Amari Abor being overrated his junior year, but I don't know. Buddy needs listening. That's what he needs. Anyway, I'll just say I don't like NIL for smaller schools that can't compete now on the bigger scale, but also the NCAA is an idiotic organization that needs to be down because the way they regulated this is not in any way fair to, I mean, like, there's no path for regulations with this stuff. How are you going to tell third parties that they can only pay so much? Because then you're regulating it through the school. They don't have to listen to you. You're not who they're doing this stuff through. You know what I mean? It's not the University of Texas paying the kids. It's Tiff's Treats. It's a sunglasses company. It's how are you going to tell these people that they can't use their ad revenue to throw at these kids to promote their products? It doesn't make sense. So, in my opinion, NIL is a great thing, but it's also a bad thing. What are your thoughts, Stephen?
Stephen, we can't
hear you. I think you're muted.
My bad. My dog was squeaking the toy in the back, and I had to mute for a second. But no, I was listening to what you're saying. My thoughts are, I don't think it's going to be as bad as we think. I don't think in terms of, spread. And this might be a hot take. I think all it's doing is just bringing to light what we've already seen. I don't think anything changes. If anything, I think if you're a smaller school, you can just load up money and try to go after maybe one or two guys to try to get attention, i.e. Jackson State. And I love my HBCUs and everything, but we know there was a lot of money involved in that deal to get Travis Hunter to Jackson State. That would have never happened before. So I actually think for the most part, you're going to see more people try to emphasize schools like Texas, schools like A&M, schools like Michigan, schools like Georgia. They've always recruited well. It's just going to be more out in the open to get them. At the end of the day, you'll still only have so many spots. At the end of the day, you still have to evaluate talent. Still get sleepers from all over the place. So a lot of kids, a lot of exposure. I think the transfer portal to me is more significant in terms of changing the landscape of college football than NIL is, in my opinion. I think the transfer portal is way, 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 way more impactful in terms of what's happening right now.
That has to be regulated too, I think.
Can I tell you why I disagree, Steven?
Please.
I agree the transfer portal, it's essentially free agency now, but when you have Texas A&M on the brink of signing the greatest class of all time the first year that NIL comes out, and they've been in front of throwing bags at kids since the start of this. I mean, Texas was more worried about compliance, it seems like. How do you not say that's changing the game? When a team goes 8-4, underachieved, retain the same coaching staff, actually lost key pieces from their coaching staff, and they're still on the brink of signing the greatest class of all time. NIL did that. It did. Do you think they would still have this class if it was still, you can't pay these kids? No. I understand Alabama's exactly. I understand Alabama's a momentum shifter. That class does not happen if NIL is not in play. And it's because they have more money than any other school other than us. It's because of that. A&M should not be anywhere near close to signing the greatest class of all time, but that's what they're about to do. And I'm okay with the transfer portal though too. I think it's perfectly fine. I just think that what we're doing right now with NIL also plays a part in the transfer portal. I mean, hell, look at all the rumors about what we're giving Quinn Ewers, first round money and all sorts of stuff. I just think the NCAA has these things set up to fail.
It's all fun and games if you're Evan Stewart until you're not getting the football and you're getting pissed off.
Thank you, Texas Homer. I've been saying that.
It's all fun and games until you're not getting the football. And then all of a sudden, if you hold those, because relationships matter. Look at, that's why they're calling this kid Elias Durant. He didn't even go. It's not like he transferred to the ACC. He transferred to the rival. Honestly, there could be a scenario where Evan Stewart could be in play in the portal next year.
How about come after spring when he figures out, I'm not getting the ball, I'm out of here.
That's how quickly things can change.
Why those guys are leaving because of coaching changes though, or not performing on the field and getting playing time. What is Bijan Robinson transferring? We had a bad this year, but he's getting 25 carries a game.
Been showcased.
No, I understand. That's what I'm saying. But you showcase these kids. These kids. If they get to play on the field, if you perform to the level at which you should perform, they're not going to transfer. If A&M goes out there and stinks this year, then they're going to have a lot of those kids transfer. It's just bound to happen. But they wouldn't be there in the first place if it wasn't for NIL. They don't have the opportunity to fail on the field or not.
Okay, stop saying NIL. It's bags.
It is bags, yeah.
They don't have any NIL stuff. It's all bag. They don't have the Pancake Company and all the other stuff. That's just, it's Jimbo Fisher coming in, shaking hands, and leaving a bag of Whataburger money behind
I guess, but how much
behind the car.
How much of this stuff happens behind the scenes? Quinn Ewers' $1.5 million deal was with a freaking autograph company. Nobody's buying autographs anymore. Let's be honest here. But you know what I mean? Who's just NIL, name, image, and likeness, correct? You can buy a picture of that kid, put him up in your car dealership, and give him $500,000. That's an NIL deal. By definition, that is an NIL deal. You are paying him for his name, image, and likeness.
Shout out to Rhett Bomar, former Oklahoma quarterback back in the day, who they put his face on the dealership and he lost his, ended up getting kicked out and had to go to Sam Houston State back in the day. Oh my gosh. Goodness, he was the #1 quarterback in his class.
No, I remember. And then he got
came in with Adrian Peterson. They I think he put his face or something on a car dealership. I know one of you OU people is lurking in here, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the way things have changed now. We're in a world where you can, and I think that's the American way. I don't have a problem with anybody benefiting or making money off their face.
No, I don't have a problem with anybody making money. I'm not pocket watching. I want everybody to make some money. I want Buddy to make money. I want Buddy to make a diss video on me and make money. You know what I mean? Hey, let's give it up for Buddy in here. He actually had a really nasty line. I'm not gonna lie. When he said you muted the wrong mic, I even had to laugh at that one. That was pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie. But I just think it creates opportunities.
I don't know what. By the way, Lando, I don't know what that. I'm take Tarek to PV. That mullet going to turn into a shag. I don't know what that means, but okay.
You know what? Hold on. No, I was gonna. Name. I had a good joke, man. I had a good joke.
What?
Joke, man.
I still don't understand what's going on.
Prairie View. It is an HBCU. Shag.
Okay.
You know what a shag haircut is?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Prairie View A&M. He's gonna take you to an HBCU, and your mullet's gonna turn into a shag. Or a Jerry curl. We can take it back to the 80s.
Shout out to PV. I know a lot of homies over there. Good people.
Good school there. Good school. But yeah, I'm all for NIL. I'm all for the kids making money. I just think there's no if people talking about them regulating it. How the NCAA said, you know what, you guys can make money as long as it's not through third party. Like it has to be through third party vendors. It can't be through the school. And also, each state is going to have their separate legislation for how they handle it because we don't want to deal with it. So the NCAA just said it's free reign. How are you going to regulate it now? You're going to tell the kids that you're going to take kids out of money, like take money out of kids' pockets? No, because that's going to be a bigger issue. That's whenever the NCAA falls apart because all these kids are like, hell no, I'm not going to take my money away from my mom.
Which was going to happen anyway.
I mean, I understand, but hell, do the Nick Saban strategy. Tell that kid his lease is up if he's not performing on the field. He's not pushing in practice. It's like, hey, man, your mom can kind of lose that Nissan Altima that I just got her, That was pretty.
While you guys are here, please hit that like button. We'll wrap up with some closing thoughts. We'll go to the 2:30 mark, and then we really are going to close, or else my wife's going to be pissed. And
I know the feeling.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I know the feeling about the wife being pissed thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, it's the whole sport is changing. The playoffs, the playoff element, the conference element. I've been saying for a while we're headed towards super conferences. Homer alluded to that in the chat in terms of people branching off or a tiering system, whatever it's going to be. This is a whole new era of college football and how business is being conducted. I mean, you talk about the tech space and all of the things that are quickly, rapidly changing in our landscape, even how we consume content. We have no idea where things are even going to be in the next 5 years, I feel like, especially once we get in the SEC and get rolling. So we'll see. I mean, you already have national players. The thing that's frustrating is the ugly side of it when guys either don't perform or don't live up to it, what happens to them or that pressure gets ramped up. You no longer can hide behind.
We'll be taking our Escalade back. Thank you.
I don't know. I'm all for giving the kids money, and I'm also not for taking away money from kids or not fulfilling promises to 18-year-olds that you are coaching and profiting off of. I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it. When you think about the millions and millions of dollars that were made off of these kids for the past 30, 40 years, like it's insanity that we even have to have a discussion about whether we should be paying them or not. It shouldn't exist. I hope all the kids get as much money as they possibly can. But I mean, I get your point as far as the transfer portal is concerned, because all these kids can leave and go somewhere else where they can get big NIL deals there as well. But it is what it is. A&M dropping bags, man. It's pissing me off.
I mean, you got people talking to other kids at schools. I mean, it's crazy. Or kids reaching out to other coaches once they sniff out I mean, look at the coaching contracts right now. Look at what Lincoln Riley he got offered like a king to go to USC. Now, I know it's a different side and element of of things, but this is a enormous business, enormous business. I appreciate you guys coming on. Go ahead and plug your stuff, fellas.
I'm not forgiving PK his money. Okay.
Good. So you can find us on the Are We Back Yet podcast. I got to upload the episode tonight that we just recorded. It's Quinmas out here in these streets. As you can see by Tarek's blonde mullet, we are enjoying the fact that Quinn Ewers is on the 40 acres. The quarterback of the future has arrived. Let's please not act like he is the savior of the program, though. That's not going to do us any favors, as my man Steven will tell you. You can find Tarek on Twitter at Real Scientistic. Do you have an Instagram, Tarek, that you want to plug, or?
I have an Instagram, but I only use it to put up pictures of my daughter, so nobody would really care.
I figured it was either like a daughter or like maybe some dogs that you have. I just imagine like some Great Danes or something.
Well, actually, I do put pictures of my dog up and my wife, but it's just never me.
Yeah.
Tarek Ewers. I like that.
Tarek Ewers. You can follow Tarek Ewers on Twitter at Real Scientistic. You can follow me, Kieran, at Care Bear Kieran on every social media platform. Also, I create YouTube videos for Jukes on YouTube. Those go up every week. I'm always slandering Urban Meyer. My co-host is an Iowa Hawkeyes fan. If I have to go through another year of someone looking me dead in the face and telling me that Iowa is a better institution than the University of Texas, I might hurt myself. It's not good. It's not good for my health.
we'll also probably, Kieran and I kind of thought about maybe starting a YouTube channel for the podcast. We're not sure about that, so keep an eye on the ground for that.
It is possible. But yeah, follow me, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. No, I don't have a Facebook, but YouTube, Jukes. Those are all my socials. I will be on Twitter Spaces talking crap to Chris Griffin because he is a lame. Steven, he actually called you a closeted OU fan, and I fought for your honor. You know, he said you're an OU fan. See, I look at your face. Look, he's getting upset right now. He's gonna give Chris a call. Yeah. Shout out to Chris though.
Let me say one thing about Chris.
Go ahead.
Chris is one of the biggest Texas fans I've ever met in my entire life. The guy thinks about Texas, 25/8, not even 24/7.
Well, when you're
Texas 25/8.
Yeah.
When your podcast is horns down rather than anything having to do with actually your school, that kind of proves the point.
My point, amazing. Also, I pissed off him and Seth because I called OU a poverty program, which it is. When you have won six straight Big 12 championships and you can't get a top 10 recruiting class, when you are losing recruits to two schools that haven't accomplished anything, one in 80 years and other is having the worst decade in school history.
They're coming for you.
You can't do anything.
Anyway.
All right. Okay.
All right. Let's get out of here.
One more thing.
What's
Sam
up?
Sam Ellinger is great, and I wish we had him down the line, especially because of his ability to not turn the ball over. He was very smart with the football.
He was there the last Saturday to help close on Ewers. So.
He was a great, solid competitor, leader. You never had to question leadership when Sam Ellinger was here. We could have used some of that this season, and it really showed down the stretch because the teams never quit under Sam Ellinger.
Wow.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
All
That
guys.
being said, goodbye. Hope you come Casey Thompson for president. Hook him.
Hey, thank you to our sponsor of this channel, BUSR, the official sports book, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. Guys, as you go into holiday season, Christmas Day, a lot of NBA games on. We already got a quick turnaround with NFL, think Thursday, and just going into the weekend. Place your bets at busr.com/fanatic. Go ahead and sign up on it with an account. If you sign up there, you can take advantage of the holidays 21 promo. It's an awesome promo we got going on. It's the season. It's the most wonderful time of the year, as they say. Let's go ahead and get our bets in together. So much going on, some MMA, everything, under the sun. We'll have some more cool promos coming next week on busr.com/fanatic. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Tarek, Kieran, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. And have a merry night. And remember, horns always up.
Welcome.